All right, welcome back. We just ended the short live review. It's always a little more, I won't say stressful, but a little more under the gun because I'm doing it live. Uh, Now we get to kick back, relax, and enjoy some scotch here. We just looked at the Benriach 21. This is the one that Rachel Berry did. I'm not sure what year, if there's an actual, let's see, 2017. So not too old if it's bottled in 2017. Um, but not brand new either. 21 year space side, 46%, not peated, not chill filtered, possible coloring, but it's I don't think so, but we'll see. I'm so glad it's Tuesday. It's been one of those days. It's been a rough day. Hey, there's Daniel in Lost Cause. Good to see you guys. What are you guys sipping tonight? Did you catch the short review? Hopefully you guys do. Also, not just hang out for the live reviews that we do. Please check out the short reviews. They're quick, concise. I try to make them for people that are either on the go or don't want to spend 2 hours with me and they just got 10 minutes to spare. So I try to keep them to around 8 to 10 minutes, and had a really good time with this one. I'll get more into the details when Malt comes a little later about the experience. But a 2019 Glendronach 21, that sounds good. Well, how does it sum up, compare Lost Cause to the older 21s that, I mean, I know a lot of them are not really 21s, they're like more like 24 and up your, ranges because of that. But, when they had to shut down and all that mess. But the new 21, is it as good as the old one? I'm just curious if you've noticed a big difference. Yeah, Daniel, I know you were on with Malt, and he'll be coming here in a little bit. Good to see you, Steven. How you doing, man? Have you ever had this one, Steven? If you could find it for the right price, sorry, I thought I saw something flying around. If you could get it for like 120 ish, I think it's worth it. Once you get it, but past 150, I probably would be like, I don't know. Daniel's having to kill Craig Lucky 13. What do you think about that one, man? Pretty good, I thought. Tastes like pancakes and served with a lot of butter. You can't go wrong with that. Hey, Greg, good to see you. Whiskey Guide. I'll have to check out your channel at some point. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure if I've ever seen you before. Do you do like Scotch and Japanese whiskey only, or do you do other ones too? Just curious. We're going to say half my message again. You're probably quick on the inner finger or something. Hey, Richie, it's good to see you, man. Richie Z and Andrew Page. Never tried this one. Andrew, are you familiar with the Benriach 10, just the basic flat 10, not the Curiositas peated one, but the flat 10 that's unpeated? Have you had that one before? Did you like it? That's first question. Yep, haven't had the Benriach 21. Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you some notes here in a bit when I get Malt in the channel here and have a little discussion about it. If it's the unpeated one, it is great. I tried it while discussing with Rachel Berry. There you go. I was just talking about her. Yeah, it's great. I'm not sure if I'm going to go outstanding. I'll get into more details in a second, but for definitely the price, I think it's well worth it. I was surprised at how low a 21-year-old would be priced for, but the same thing could be said for Loch Lomond and some of those that are really low, like Tomatin and Tullibardine, and some of those that are, the price is just ungodly low compared to other ones. But sometimes you do pay for quality. Hi, first time here. Thanks to Malt. Cover all sorts of whiskeys, but it is true I didn't cover much U.S. Japanese yet. Tried quite some. I gotcha. Well, welcome, Greg, to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by. I pretty much focus solely on Scotch from Scotland. You'll sometimes hear me talk about some Japanese whiskey. I've dabbled into some Japanese. Even though I'm from the Big Blue, I am not a huge corn whiskey fan. I do like a lot of rye, so you will see me drink a lot of rye. But I tend to stay away from bourbon. It's really sad because I could have pretty much had any bottle. I even had the Pappy 23 year, and it didn't blow my socks away. I mean, if you like wheat whiskey, it's good, but I'm not a big wheat fan either. Corn and wheat can stay. Malted barley is where it's at, I think, my friends. Hey, DHS Dustin, good to see you, man. Oh, man. Drinking like a king. That's scary. What are you drinking there, DHS? Some 30 to 50-year-old, probably. You bastard. Oh, man. Crazy. Isn't there Glenlow. I can't even say it. Glenlow. Who is the actual distillery on that? Because Glenlow is not an actual distillery. I wonder who the actual distillery is on that. It's probably some thing like you get with Tobermory and Lecheg and Inchmirren and Loch Lomond. That name kind of changed for peated versus non-peated. Thanks for subscribing there, Greg. Very much appreciated. It's very cool of you. And let's put a little welcome into our buddy who just joined here, Mr. Malt.
Hey, Mr. Telex. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. What's going on?
Oh, just hanging out with the fellas, looking at what they were, drinking.
Is that all you're doing?
Greg was a new guy that came in. I appreciate you bringing some people over to the casa.
Yeah. Oh, Greg. Greg Whiskey Guy. Yeah, he's got a channel too. Folks should check that out if they haven't. He's got good stuff. How are you, man? What's new?
Pretty decent. Just went through the old Benriach 21, and I was going to share some notes with you when you came in.
Yeah, I'm eager to hear about that one. But you had mentioned that you had found a Benriach 21 at a pretty good price. That sounds. I knew that there was maybe potentially even better than a good price.
Oh man, that's crazy. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So we got a 21-year-old Speyside, and this is not chill filtered, thankfully. I can't really say on the color for sure. I don't suspect this is, extra coloring. This has got not one, not two, not three, but 4 cask maturations on it. We're talking bourbon, virgin American oak, Pedro Jimenez, sherry cask, and red wine casks. They're not specific on the red wine. I think somebody was talking about Bordeaux, but I'm not sure if that's a possibility or not. But let's get into the notes.
Yeah, I'm eager to hear about this one.
It's really it's really well done on the nose right off the bat. Custard and ginger are the first 2 prominent notes, and then you get like a honey and strawberry, pineapples, cereal malt, and cedar wood on the nose. And the palate is a bit thin to medium for my taste, and I'll get to that in a second with the thin mouth coat. Medium red fruits on the palate with caramel, white pepper, milk chocolate, and vanilla. It's kind of a nice balance. The finish is medium length at first with oaky properties with the rhubarb, kind of a savory pie feel to it. A little slight leather and a little slight smoke, even though this is not a peated dram. It's got a little bit of a slight leathery smoke.
You said that's a Speyside, right? I was mentioning earlier, I've actually never had a Benriach, so I'm definitely going to be learning a lot from you tonight, which is cool.
I think you'll be happy with both their unpeated and peated offerings. They're very well known for both, and their peat is actually
I feel like a 10 Cositas or whatever. That's a peated one. I've heard some things about.
Well, they have a 10 that's not peated, it's unpeated, like this one, and they have a 10 that's the peated, that's the Curiositas. So they have both, but once you get to like the Solstice is a really good, I think it's like a 16-year-old offering. I don't think that one was peated. I could be wrong. The Septim Decim is the 17-year-old that is peated, and that's really good too. So you can't really go wrong with a lot of these Benriachs, thankfully. Anyway, once you go through all that, if the water brings out a lot of goodness with this one, with the nose, it brings the sugars up and gives it like a Japanese whiskey characteristic. It's got a lot of apples and pears and some marshmallows going on, and the palate is tamed. It's a very tart dram without the water. A couple of drops, it tames the tartness and brings out more fruit and vanilla. And then the finish is even longer with the water, believe it or not. So it really lengthens the finish. And overall, it's a delicate dram. It's not very intense, but it's delicate. It is well refined, but I give it a 3.75 out of 5.
Nice.
I think I mean, it's not outstanding, like 4 plus, but it's definitely well above average. You know what I mean? And
what you expected, or I don't know. I sense a little like you maybe were hoping for a little bit more out of it.
I was hoping it was going to be a 4.25 out of 5. That was what I was hoping for, but it did under-deliver just slightly. But I could see what she was trying to do, and I think she did a good job. I think that the 46% might have. I don't know. She's really. I was going to get to about the thin mouth coat. She's known for being at Bowmore, and Bowmore is notorious for having the thinnest mouth coats.
Yeah,
across the board. I'm not sure what it is.
Are you referring to Rachel Berry?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she was doing Benriach. See, I'm learning already.
Yeah, she is. This was from 2017. I don't know if she's still there
because she's at Glendronach now.
Yeah, this is from 2017. This bottle, so I'm thinking that this might have been prior to her arrival at Brown Foreman, right? Okay. So that's the catch there. But either way, I commend her for what she tried to do with this, and I think she got like 85 to 90% there, and that's the only thing is just I was hoping for a little more intensity and a heavier mouth coat. That's my only bitch about the whole thing. It's hard. And I only spent like 120. So for 120,
okay, yeah. I'm surprised it didn't push. Well, that's not the normal price, though,
that's right? Not the normal price.
Okay, I was gonna say that might push 4 if that was the normal price.
See, that's the thing. I don't do value with my scores. Right. If I did do value with my scores for 120, this would definitely be a 4.25. This regularly is 120 pounds, so we're talking 150 after conversion. If you can get it under 150, I think it is a buy, but anything above 150, I would put the brakes on it, man.
Yeah. So when you say thin mouthfeel, I'm thinking back to some of our conversations over the past few weeks, and one of your critiques of like Glengoyne has been its thin mouthfeel, and I think it was specifically when you talked about the 18. And when I think back to my experience with the 18, it kind of resonates with me about it kind of just didn't quite give you what you thought you should get for an 18-year-old. It just seemed a little bit muted and kind of, and I'm curious if this is more like when you say thin mouthfeel, is it in that Glengoyne sense, or is there something a little different going on here?
I think you nailed it with both. You nailed it with the Glengoyne kind of feel that it's also found in like Bowmore's. The viscosity, the thickness, it just isn't there. Like the best mouthfeel to me is a Kleinleach. It's got that real heavy waxiness. Mm-hmm. But some people are turned off by the heavy waxiness. They don't want that. They want kind of in the middle of the road, like a Glendronach or a Macallan. I would consider that kind of medium. Mm-hmm. But for like Lafroig and Ardbeg and Kleinleach and some of these guys have just more of a heavier, thicky, waxy substance to it. So
sure.
But you nailed it with not just that, but also the what was your other thing that you talked about besides the ABV? I think has a lot to do with it too.
That was at 46.
It's at 46. Yeah, it's right on the cusp. It's like
you'd hope there'd be a little bit more punch. I mean, I wonder if it's a lot of tired casks in that, if they're punching it up to 46% just to try to give you more bang for your buck. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot, like it does sound a little engineered to me, to be honest with you.
I think you might have nailed it with the cast maybe being a little bit tired. Maybe that it wasn't really her fault. It was just the material she was given to
Yeah,
work with.
I don't know.
It's not a bad dram by any means, because if it was bad, I would have gave it like a 2.25 kind of thing. But it's
Are
a
there
hell
any
of a lot better
whiskeys?
than that.
Yeah, are there any whiskeys, other single malts that you would say it's equivalent to? I mean, like in terms of its overall presentation. Like, I'm trying to think for like folks in the chat who maybe haven't had a Benriach 21. Like, what would you compare it to if anything comes off in?
That's a really, really good question. I'm just kind of glancing around. I've got lots of bottles down that way. You can't see. And just kind of giving a quick kind of a go over. It's a quintessential space side. I mean, when you think space side, Benriach, their unpeated stuff is exactly what you would expect. I think a Ball Blair is comparable.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It does taste like a good 15-year-old Ball Blair to maybe 18, somewhere around that. I'm talking old vintage, not the new Ball Blair stuff. I haven't tried the new stuff yet, but the year, the 99, the 90s, those, it kind of has that kind of a feel, but not as viscous, not as thick, not as intense. It's the refinement's there, and I think, and that's where the age really helps, but it's lacking. I mean, even though I got the pineapple and I got some of the tropical notes with the fruits and stuff, it doesn't pop as much as I would hope it would. That's the only thing lacking. But I think if it was 48%, or like you said, if the casks were not as tired, maybe that would have happened a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just speculating. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that's interesting. But like, you got a good price on a 21-year-old whiskey. I mean, that was the neck pour, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, you just cracked that for your.
No, I'm already I'm already down halfway.
Oh,
Dude.
geez, okay.
I don't play around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this isn't just Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, what I've been doing usually, I used to do like
375 is still a good score, though, man. I mean, that still sounds like something that folks should keep their eyes out for.
I have no buyer's remorse at all, and if I found it again for like, if I didn't already have the bottle, and if I found it for like 140, I wouldn't hesitate probably to buy it. But if you got around 150 or above, that's when I would probably be like, I'll save that money and get like a Glendronach 18 or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
But you, what are you up to?
Man, not much. Another week. Things are they're starting to hit the brakes a little bit here in Philly. We were just about to fully open, and they're hitting the brakes a little bit, which is unfortunate but understandable given the situation we're in. But as we always do, chat a little bit about new bottles. I've gotten a couple new things since we last talked. One of which I'm sipping on right now. It's a bourbon. I was talking about this on my happy hour. This is E.H. Taylor.
Oh, I love that one.
Single barrel.
Yeah, I'm sipping this right now. And I also picked up a couple of things. Actually, no scotches, surprisingly. I got this E.H. Taylor. I got a Willet 4-year rye, a Red Spot 15-year-old Irish, which is the only
nice
that I've not had. I love the yellow spot quite a bit, and so I'm eager to open that one up.
I've only had the red. I haven't had the yellow or green or the other ones.
Yeah, and then I got another bottle of Old Forester. So Old Forester has this great series called the Whiskey Row series, and it's basically like a history chronology thing. They put years on it. So they have an 1870, which is their original batch, 1879 or 1897, which is the bottled and bond, 1910, which is the old fine, and then the 1920 prohibition. And I had reviewed the 1910 a couple weeks back, and I love it. I love the 1910. It's a really, really good bourbon. All of these are in that like 50, 55 range, maybe a little bit less. I picked up the bottled and bond 1897. So really excited to check that one out.
What was the maker of that one, the bottled and bond?
Old Forester.
Old Forester.
Yeah, so they have a bunch of stuff that honestly I don't think is very good, and then they have this Whiskey Row series, which I think is, I've had two of them, both of them which I think are really solid bourbons. And so I grabbed another one in that line. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to probably review all four eventually, but yeah. So I don't know. I've been on one of these kicks, and we were talking about this on the happy hour earlier. Just you get on these, you get a craving or a taste for something that you want, and lately it's been bourbon for me. So for whatever reason this week, I decided I got to get a couple bourbons and keep going with it. But I do have some scotches lined up that I'll sip along with you tonight. So
Okay.
I'll be totally in bourbon zone.
That E.H. Taylor, I had the bottled and bond grain version, and that was really good. I'm not a grain guy.
The 4 grain?
The 4 grain. I was looking up from Mr. Lee, Mr. Aquaman, as you know. When we were doing a tour of Scotland, we would also throw some bonus samples in there that were just kind of off the wall stuff that we thought people would actually appreciate. And when I first saw it, I'm like, grain whiskey, man. I hate Gravon. I don't like Invergordon. I don't like Cambus or North British or any of the grain stuff. It's just not for me. So I was kind of hesitant to taste it, but I tell you what, man, I nosed it, tasted it. It was the best non-Scotch drink I think I've ever had.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, that E.H. Taylor 4 grain is like, if you got $800 on secondary market, you can find a bottle. But
is it that much?
Maybe not 800, but it's in that 5. It's over 5.
Holy shit!
You're lucky
thank you, Mr. Aquaman.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Aquaman. That's crazy because I had a feeling he gets them at a much better price and open, like he'll get 2 bottles, he'll open one and keep another back in the cage. But man, that was outstanding as a drink.
For sure. So just real quick, Trooper Henry asked what I thought of the Old Forester 1920. That's the Prohibition edition. I think that's probably the best in the line, but I'm telling you, I'm going to get a bottle of it and we'll check it out for sure. I loved the Prohibition edition. I really like the style of those Old Forester ones because what I'm noticing with those is there's this it's like a heavy barrel influence, but it's almost like a double barreled influence. So it's like, it's not spicy. It's very creamy, heavy, dark, rich notes. I really like the Old Forester stuff. The 1910 is probably the one that I've enjoyed the most so far that I've reviewed. I just noticed DH Silva's house. What's up, Dustin? How are you, buddy?
Guess what?
The Old Foresters were a touch young, but the sweet is covered. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I agree with you. I'd be curious which one of those you like the most, Dustin. You've probably had all of them, if not most of them.
Guess what just came in the mail today?
Oh boy!
Yes.
Are you going to open it tonight? Because if you are,
oh yes.
Well.
Oh yes. I have a viewer. I don't want to give his name out in case he wants to remain anonymous, but he gave me kind of a heads up that he had a bit of an extra bottle laying around if I'd be interested, and I'm like, well, hell yeah.
Oh man.
So I definitely was like, here you go, and there it is. Oh, nice. We're gonna have some.
I'll pivot and make sure I have some of that with you.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be opening that up after I finish this glass here.
Yeah. No, Dustin, I agree. Yeah, Dustin, you're right. The 1910 is the double barreled one. But I also just noticed that I think I picked up a bit of that flavor on the 1920 as well, which was just again like kind of that just. It's less spice. It's less oak spice. More of this just kind of like creamy, new make, fresh barrel kind of thing going on. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. The 1910 is. It'd be nice if they bumped up the ABV. I think it was only 46%, if I recall. But it's a solid bourbon. I just loved the profile of that. I really did.
I have a dumb question from a Scotch guy to you guys: is what does bottled and bond really mean? What does that entail?
Yeah. So the story behind it, I'll probably get a little bit of it messed up. But basically, back in the late 1800s, right? Like people were just selling shit. Like the people were just selling anything and calling it whiskey and ripping people off. And so bottled and bond basically means that it was a government. The government was basically insuring it, right? So if you buy a whiskey that's bottled and bond now, it's an homage back to the rules that they had put in, which meant it was bottled in a government supervised warehouse. It was 50% ABV. It was at least 3 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe somebody can correct me on that. Basically just ensuring a certain level of quality. And that was to compensate for the amount of like black market free
stuff.
Bourbon, right? And so it's being now kind of presented over the years as a way of just presenting a bourbon at a certain type of profile and style. So anytime you get a bottled and bond, so for example, this E.H. Taylor I'm drinking is bottled and bond. So it's of course 50% ABV,
Do you wish
at least you're getting a certain thing out of it.
Do you wish Scotch distilleries would start doing that and have like a certain level of maybe quality where if they say it's bottled and bond, it means it's 50% ABV and has certain characteristics like non-chill filtering, not colored? Wouldn't that be interesting if that was a marketable thing you could actually do?
Yeah, I don't know, right? Like, I'm sure there are some folks who have strong opinions about NASs that would appreciate that, right?
That's true. But I'm just saying is like, distilleries are always trying to find a way to market something. And if you want to take the time to do your craft right and sell it at a premium, then you could actually maybe, do it with like a standard. But yeah, the Scotch standards are pretty bad, Dustin. I agree with you there. It's so bad that a lot of these newer distilleries are releasing spirits. You've heard the spirit term, I take it, before?
Yeah.
Under 3 years, you have to call it a spirit. You can't call it a whiskey. So, like Ardmaturin and some of those newer distilleries I've seen are doing the spirit releases, and I've been kind of like curious. Like, should I take a stab and taste the make, or wait till they have a more quality product? I mean, how do you make that determination on your own there? Do you ever think I want to test their 1 to 2 year stuff, or do you think I'm not even going to bother until they get at least 10 years? Or
I don't know, man. For me personally, I would, yeah, a couple of years is good for me. I think that like a whiskey is the make is not the only. I think the barrels that it's in, and the people selecting them, and the reason they select them is just as important, if not more important, to the integrity and quality of a good whiskey than the spirit that they use in it. I mean, I think that you can't have one without the other. I mean,
yeah, that's a good answer. I think I kind of look at it the same way. I think to a point. I mean, only certain ones like if I had a chance to do the Ardnaho new make taste, I would jump on that one. Maybe.
Yeah, I hear you on that, but like I would taste it, but am I gonna buy a bottle of it at 2 years just because? I don't know.
He certainly wouldn't pay $200 for a 3-year whiskey.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And there are people that are actually doing that today, believe it or not. I have seen literal 3-year-old whiskeys being sold for $200 to $300, and I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. And I've tasted it, and it's not that good because I got it from a sample through somebody else, and it's like I can't believe I feel so sorry for you that you spent $200-$300 for a 3-year-old whiskey, first of all, and then you get it, and it tastes like somebody just took some sweaty gym shorts and wrung them out into a glass. It's horrible, man. You can tell I've had some bad ones in my time.
Yeah, totally.
Thankfully,
I don't know. Like, there's one exception. I mean, maybe it's not just new make, but it's just like younger spirits. Like the heavily peated stuff. I think I like that a little bit more on the younger side. But other than that, I mean, I don't know how young, right? I mean, the Ardbeg 5 Wee Beastie tested my theory on that. Like, I didn't think it was a bad whiskey, but look, I mean, 3 years is a big difference between Scotch and bourbon. I mean, a 3-year-old bourbon can be totally dynamic, interesting, have a lot of subtlety, have a lot of interesting notes to it that you pick up. Versus a Scotch, I think it just takes longer, and that's just climate. This is because of climate. I mean, the barrels just don't put out that much flavor, as much influence on things in 3 years in Scotland as they do in Kentucky, and that's just how it is. That's why, I mean, for me personally, you pour me an 18-year-old Scotch, I'm like, hell yeah. You pour me an 18-year-old bourbon, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of the heavily aged bourbon stuff, mostly because I just think it's too oaky. And you have to compensate for it with water, and I don't know, it just loses a little bit. But that's just me.
I would be the same way because, like, if you look at like the Lafroig Triple Wood series, I mean, the Carradus I liked a lot, but the regular Triple Wood, if you gave me that versus a quarter cask, I would take the quarter cask way before I would take a Triple Wood any day, even if it's.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the real oaky, woody whiskeys either. Really, it's just. I mean, I don't mind a little sharpness if it's got.
But it's how much you can pay for it. I mean, like, I have a 24-year-old Orphan barrel, which is like, it's a bourbon, and I'm telling you, even with they've watered it down. Even with that, it's just oaky as all hell. I've had some of those older Elijah Craigs style. Some folks are really into that. Maybe there's a subtle nuance in a heavily aged old bourbon that I'm not picking up. But where I'm at in my journey, it's not for me, man. I think you can get real good bourbons in that 5 to, well, not 5, maybe. You go like 9 year to 11 year, 8 years, something around there. You get really good bourbons at solid prices that I think are just much more enjoyable to drink than licking the side of a oak stave.
You ready? You probably couldn't even hear it with my headset on, but I popped the cork.
Worst 2 examples of oak bourbon. What else you got? I mean, you know what I'm saying, though. Again, I can only talk from my own experience, so there's probably a few other examples out there that of stuff I've not had that maybe would change it.
I'm just letting it air out for about 15 minutes there.
Oh yeah, I'll put some of that in the glass too.
Just let it sit out for a little bit.
Malted, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing all right, man. I know you're on the mend.
Oh, Swami. What's wrong with Swami? What happened to him?
I'll let him speak his own language. I'll let him speak on that, but I think he's in recovery.
Oh, Swami, I hope you're doing better, man. I didn't know you were under the weather or had a little issue, but hopefully you were back in the saddle extremely soon. I really appreciate you stopping by. I'll drink this next dram for you, Swami. It's a Lafroig 15. I was lucky to sort of pseudo find over the airwaves in a lucky little genie like dropped it on my doorstep today, so I was very happy about that. Poured it in one of these crazy dragon glasses just to deal with something a little different.
Have you had that one before?
The 15 I have. I've only had a couple samples, and I tell you what, I'm hoping the bottle is just as good as those samples, because those samples were damn good. There's a cola note I get out of this. I can't really put my finger on it other than it's like a cola effervescence to it that screams like cherry cola to me. I don't know what it is, but I only get it out of Lafroig 15. I don't get it anywhere else. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember the last time I sipped this. I don't remember getting a cola note, but we'll see that.
Hopefully you'll get it this time. I'm not sure what it is. I didn't add any water to it, because when I was doing these samples, I didn't ever added water to whiskey at that point, especially if it wasn't like above 50%. This is only 43%, so I mean it's a lower ABV. But I got it neat, so it should be fine, I would think.
What year did you get those or try those samples?
Trying to think. It was a few years ago, but the bottles, I'm not sure which bottle it was from, but it should have been this one. This is the 200 years.
Yep. No, I mean, what year did you try the samples?
Oh,
like 3 years ago.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, I think it was. Okay.
So it's been a little while.
Oh, yeah.
It's changed quite a bit since then.
It could. I hope not as much, man, because both those samples, I was able to get that really nice cola note, man. I love the nose on that. The nose is like almost perfect. Oh, here we go. Let me catch up and see if Swami said anything, or if he. No, he just said hi. That's okay. I'll catch up with Swami later on that. But 84 out of 100. 2 stars? Oh, come on now. No. That's Dustin. He's a little Dustin, DHS. He's like the most, you know how you have radical, you have liberal, you have moderate, you have conservative, and you have reactionary.
He's a social justice warrior. Is that what you're saying?
Dustin is the reactionary of the whiskey world when it comes to reviews, man. If it's not fucking perfect, and I mean, he will not give it above 3 or 4 stars. It blows my mind. No, I love Dustin, and I'm not harping on him, but I'm just like surprised that he would say two starish on that.
Oh, for that Lafroig you're having? I'll be interested to hear what you.
Oh man. We'll have to sip it here in a little bit. I'm getting tempted, but I'm trying to tame myself. I'm going up to a nose every once in a while just to get in the goodness, but I'm being good.
Yeah, I'm not noticing the cola. What I do notice is a lot of citrus.
No, it was on the palate. It wasn't on the
Oh,
stomach.
okay.
Yeah.
I like the nose so far.
Oh, I love it.
But I haven't had this in probably a month, so I don't remember.
God, I love the nose on this.
Yeah, it's good.
It's the perfect balance of fruit and peat with the smoke and the maritime brininess.
Seems like it punches a little above its weight for 43%, but
I like that though. I like the fact that it hits a little harder than, would you rather it taste like a 40% or a 46? You know what I mean?
46.
Exactly. I think they're talking about the coloring maybe. It has some pros and cons. The Lafroig 15 batch variations, 43% is a bit low. It is a bit bitter as well. I didn't get bitterness when I had it, but maybe I just got lucky. But there are some really nice sherry notes, and I think that's where, and you can't get that from it. That's the funny thing. The 15 is nothing like the 18. It's nothing like the 16. It's nothing like the 10. It's nothing like any other carriages that I've ever had. It's its own thing, and I wish they brought it back so bad. Because I like this better than the 16. The 16 is more woody, a little more straightforward bourbonish to me. This one's got like lots of great sherry notes in it.
Did you ever have that one that came out last year, the 16-year-old Lafroig?
That's the one I'm comparing it to.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was a bit woody. Yeah.
Like the first fill. Yeah, that one. I think this one's more interesting than that one was.
Yeah, I think the 16 is good. To me, it's just so wood forward that it's funny because it's got some smoke, but it's not as smoky to me. Even though I'm thinking peat and smoke differently. The smokiness I get more here than I do on the 16. After the peat, the billowing of the smoke. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly just ash and sweetness is what I get off the nose on this.
Oh man, I love it though.
There's definitely some what you want to call it.
Do you get any floral?
Fruit.
I get some, and some florals with it too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in for a drink.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh, it's so good. For 43%, it tastes, I swear it tastes like a 46. Maybe, I wouldn't go as high as 40.
I'm actually surprised at how lower the smoke is on this one.
It's funny, it's on the nose, but yeah, you're right. It's not on the palate as much. But that's where that, do you get on the finish or anywhere, do you get like a slight cola, almost a cola note?
It's hard to tell. I just drank the C.H. Taylor, so that might be impacting it, but maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm gonna go in for another sip here eventually. This one seems a lot more just kind of like light, sweet, somewhat tropical.
It's on the tail end.
Taking it back. The smoke is not, the peaty smoke part of it is not very assertive on this, which is kind of interesting for this. I don't remember what this is all aged in, to be honest with you.
On the tail
bourbon.
On the tail end, no, it's sherry.
Sherry. Yeah, you're right.
On the tail end, there's a really nice, almost cola meets chocolate. You ever had one of those Canfield's chocolate sodas? It's got
probably.
It's got like a Canfield's deep chocolate fudge soda type of aftertaste to it. Finish-wise. I don't know what it is, but there's something. Maybe that's why I like this bottle so much, even though it's not. A lot of people don't like it as much as I do. I think, but I think it brings me back to childhood when it comes to drinking those sodas. I used to drink those a lot, and it's got that kind of reminiscent factor going on. I think to a point. I do wish it was a little higher on ABV though. 43 is a bit low.
I guess this is one of those bottles where it's like the amount of money that you would pay for something like this these days is probably kind of ridiculous. I can't imagine. This is probably like $100 $160, $170 on secondary market now just because you can't get it. I mean, maybe that's a little high, but I don't know.
That's the only reason I would be hesitant. Thankfully, the guy I got it from was very, very extremely fair on the price. I mean, extremely like retail. So it was a lot lower than that. But at the same time, would I spend? For 15-year-old Lefroy, though, I think I would go 120 to 125 ish. I think I would go that high. I wouldn't go to the 150, 160 range. I don't think. But hopefully they'll find a way to re-release this with sherry and not just depend on the 16. I'm hoping they took some of that 16-year-old juice they've got and put it in a sherry cask.
That 16 was that was all first fill ex bourbon, right? So
Exactly, yeah.
It's like
completely different.
I mean, that's not even that easy to find here in the States. I think it was just like a weird UK Amazon thing. And then they put out a couple, like you could find it around the States, but I don't know how. Maybe folks in the chat know. I mean, if you guys ever see that Lefroy 16 on any shelves around here.
I did, not on the shelf, but I got mine from the United States. When it first got here, I got lucky to find a place called Universal in Florida that had it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wow. They had it for like a really good price. It wasn't like crazy price, crazily priced. I think it was around, I don't know, 120 or I can't remember the exact number, but it didn't like shock me. And they had it early, like as soon as it hit Europe. I guess they had some bottles come over to this Universal place in Florida, and that's where I picked it up right off the bat. I usually don't tell people where I get stuff because they'll buy it, but that's just a little tidbit for you guys.
You're an international man of mystery.
I'm greedy. I gotta have my juice. I'm worse than Schmiegel, man. I'll make Schmiegel look like a baby. If it comes to the precious, I have to have it, man.
Well, shit, man, it worked out because somebody just sent you a bottle of Lefroy 15.
This stuff is awesome. I mean, yeah, I wish it had a higher ABV, but I tell you what, I love that finish. That finish, for 43%, that finish lasts a long damn time for me. I don't know. Do you get it at all?
No, it does. It's interesting, man. I'm not sure where this one falls in with me. Like, the way you're talking about it, it sounds like this is one of your more favorite Lefroy's.
Now that I've reapproached it after it being a few years, it does seem a little tamer when it comes to the bite, which I think I'm used to having, the cast strength Carriages and some of the more robust offerings. So, I just stopped drinking a Bunnahabhain Ankladach, which is, 50%. Once you're used to hanging around 50 to 60% ABV, and then you come back to 43, even with the peat and the great sherry, it is a bit thinner than I remember it being. But
yeah,
thankfully that finish is still going on. So I think I'd still give this like a 3, man.
I think you said it. I'm like in that 3.25 range. I think it's actually it's deceptively good in the sense of it's got a decent amount of uniqueness for a Lefroy, and coming in at 43%, you honestly would expect a little bit less on the palate than what you get. But it's also not, I don't know. I mean, for a 200th anniversary, all the flowering that they put all about this bottle, I don't know. I guess I would have expected a little bit more. I mean, I don't think this comes close to the lore. I don't think it comes close to the 18. I don't think it comes close to the 10 cast strength. It's different. You want to know what this reminds me of? If I was going to do a comparison, is the NO.
Oh, really? Well, I can see where the finish does have a no-ish sweet, peaty finish. I would be a little more generous. I'd probably go to a 3.5 because of just the fact that the nose and the finish are so damn good. I mean, and it tastes hotter than it is. I'm going to give it a few bonus points. I think I'll bump it up to a 3.5 out of 5. And like when you talk about the lore, like that's a 4.25 out of 5 to me. I mean, it is a bit better because the fact that ABV is higher, it tastes a little more complex too. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's right. But I'd be curious if they ever come back, because this used to be, as far as I understand, the 15 was a standard Lafroig you could get for many years. I mean, before I was into Scotch. I think I'm right about that. Maybe somebody can correct me. Probably Peter White might know something about that.
Lafroigs are come and go. This one's a limited edition. It's.
I mean, I'm talking prior to that one coming out. I think the 15 was like a regular release, if I'm not mistaken.
I think, if someone please chime in. I thought they were always kind of like moving their years around, like, because they had an 11-year-old that was a staple at one point, believe it or not. It's rare today to find it. But they had an 11-year-old. They had, oh man, of course, the 18 was around. They always do like the 27. They've got the 30, the 32, the 35. Oh man, I'm trying to remember old school. But yeah, I think they did have a white. Was it a white bottle for a 15? People let us know in the chat if you get a chance if the old 15 was like a white bottle, or what did it look like? I think you're right. I think they had 15 for a while, but I'm not sure how long it was out.
I've never had one. So.
Peter says it's not in his wheelhouse. Yeah, I mean this is definitely my wheelhouse. What is your wheelhouse, Peter? I'm just curious. Do you like? Are you more of a Space Side Highland guy, or are you more of a Lowlands, or do you just stay in Campbelltown Islands? What's your deal?
I'm going to go give myself a water refill right quick, so I will return in a second.
And think about what your wheelhouse is there, Malt. Oh, man. I think my wheelhouse is definitely Isla and Campbelltown. I'm the master of Isla and Campbelltown. No one can, let's see, no one can get me there, I think. For peat, it's Long Row. Okay, that's Campbelltown. That's Springbank's heavily peated line. I can't knock you there. Last one you bought was the Carriages 2016. Well, if you're like Malt was not a fan of, Muser was not a fan of the Madeira cask. I like the Madeira cask of the 2016, but I don't mind a sweet peat, so that might have something to do with it. Dustin loves Old Isla. Hey, was Lafroig 15 a staple? Was that like a usual offering there, Dustin? I'm curious. I don't know if if that's a typical thing or what, but I might shoot for a 3.75 on this one. It's that good. I just love Lafroig's like make, their smoke, their iodine, their TCP hospital bandage goodness. I don't know what it is. Thanks, Richie. You might not agree with my like for something, but I'll definitely tell you what the profile of the distillery is. Don't know much about the 15. Okay. I was curious if it was like a regular thing back before this limited edition 15, if it was like something they had. Like I think they might have had a white bottle or it might have always been green. I can't remember. I know the 18 used to be a green bottle back in the day, but I can't remember some of the other stuff. I'll be getting to try the Lafroig 28 Friday. You bitch. I gotta get my hands on some of that, man. Hey, can you pour a little bit and be like, I didn't get my sample yet. This one's going to Mr. Telex. That would be awesome. Do you think the different glasses having any effect on the dram? In a way, sometimes I think the only thing different with this glass than it would standard Glencairn is it has more of a bigger mass in the bottom, so I think it does oxidize a little more. I didn't purposely pick this one for more oxidation. it does have a nice focused nose, so I still get that out of this glass. It was the closest one for me to pick. That was the only difference. Let me pull malt back in here. If you had to pick a wheelhouse? Like mine is pretty much Island Campbelltown. I think I'm pretty well versed with that. Do you have like any certain like range you like to stay in, or you pretty feel like you're kind of like all over the place?
Yeah, I think in like broad terms, I'm kind of open to almost anything.
I gotcha.
I really am. Like if I had to pick a certain style that I find that I enjoy the most, it's usually more heavily peated stuff, particularly Islay peated stuff with sherry influence. So I'm thinking things like, Lochgorm, Lagavulin Distillers Edition.
I was going to say that one. That's a definite buy.
Ardbeg Goodall. I really do enjoy that marriage of, when done well, from what I've had, of the like heavily peated stuff that has a little bit of sherry or wine finish.
Here's a challenge.
Which makes me really excited about the new Lafroy Cartridge, which is coming out, which is going to be a red wine. I'm really excited to see how that one's going to turn out. But yeah, that's kind of in general where I fall.
That brings me to another question I got for you later about the red wine casting with the black. But if you had to, and this is a challenge for everybody in the chat, I wanted to hear your favorite peated dram outside of Islay. It can't be Islay, but what is your favorite peated dram that you would say is your go-to, that is a must-have? For me, it's tough because there are lots of good un-Islay, I should say, peated drams that I've really enjoyed, and Benriach has got a few of them that are like that. I can't say it. Septum Decim is one of them. The 17-year is really good. Balvenie Peat Week is another one that comes to mind that I really, really enjoyed. What's one of yours that you really like that's peated that you can think of?
I mean, if we're not talking about heavily peated, I recently had the new Highland Park 21, which I really enjoy, which has some peat in it.
Highland Park has got a great
Lecheg 10. I love Lecheg 10. I mean, obviously, there are Springbanks. I think that there are definitely some Springbanks.
Here's something for you, and I think
15.
I think Stephen Connor will back me up on this, and let me know if I'm wrong, Stephen Connor, but I really think you should get a bottle of the Highland Park Valfather because it is their peatiest dram that they offer.
Oh, right.
If you like Highland Park's heathery kind of peat, you will love the Valfather. I did a tasting with these guys not too long ago, and he didn't like the Balvenie Peat Week that he had. I think the one I had was an older, I think it was a 17 and not the 14. Do you remember what year you had there, Stephen? Anyway, he really liked the Valfather, and a lot of his buddies did too, compared to the other things that we were having. And there was there was a Kalila 18 in the mix there, so that tells you something that their peat is definitely well received. What's a heavily peated one that you like that's outside of Islay? Can you think of one that you liked that stood out at all? And it could even be Campbelltown if you want it to be. I mean,
I don't know if I would say it's heavily peated, but definitely things that I pick up a good amount of peat on that I love. Springbank 15, Springbank 12 cast strength, Lecheg 10.
Have you ever tried one of the long rows before?
Yeah, I was just about to say the long row 18, the long row, even the long row peated, I think is really good. The NAS, I think it's a really solid pour. And then obviously like Kilkerran heavily peated, which is quite a younger one. Even the Kilkerran 12. I mean, I think there's a bunch of good peated ones coming out of Campbelltown that I really enjoy.
Stephen's
not one of my favorites, but distillers overall, but I love the Talisker 18 is really solid.
Stephen, you should send him a little sample of the 27 cast strength from 1985. I think he'll shit his britches.
That would probably do it, yeah. I'm sure that would do it.
I think he'll shit his britches for that one.
Yeah, that would probably do it for sure.
Man, that would be a classic, man. He's got some really tasty ones. I would love to have a little sip of that. Anything Talisker I've enjoyed. I think it does remind me of an Isla profile, even though it's Islands.
Agreed.
Technically, but it is very white and black pepper forward. So if you're not,
I think that's the thing. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Talisker 10. It's just not one of my favorites. I didn't love the Storm. The Talisker that I actually really like, which I think is in the affordable range, is the Talisker Distillers Edition.
That's a really, really good one. That's probably one of your more favorite. I don't know if I could say heavily peated. It's heavier than most, I would say. That's outside of Isla. Talisker Distillers Edition is a definite. Anybody who considers himself a Scotch drinker, you've got to try the Talisker Distillers Edition at some point in your journey. If you haven't, you're missing out.
It's a good one. I think it's
like $80. I mean, 80, 85
Man,
bucks.
Sometimes much cheaper. I've seen it for like 50 at places.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah. I know.
That is ridiculous.
I got lucky with that. And I haven't really had a lot of the Distillers Editions. I think I've had like 4 or 5 of them, maybe compared to the rest. But let me think. Yeah, the Lagavulin, which is that PX, it's basically the 16 with the PX finish, is overall pretty good. Then there's, what other ones have I had? Yeah, the Talisker, of course, which is really solid. I think I had the Dalwhinnie, if I'm not sure. I actually don't quite remember. What other ones of those Distillers editions? Cragganmore. I have a bottle of the Cragganmore, which...
That's the port cask, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little thin, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and at 40%, I was a little bummed, but it was so cheap, I had to buy it.
I felt the same way, and that's the thing. That's the only great thing about some of these cheaper ones but you usually get shot with the ABV being like 40 or 43.
Yeah, Silverlock said he'd seen the Talisker DE for 100 plus tax and passed on it. 100 is too much.
Peter's right about the shame the U.S. was shut out of the Talisker 15 cask strength. I was really looking forward to getting that, and I couldn't find it. And when I looked overseas, even, it's been a bitch to try to find. Is the Talisker 15 had a cask strength that I would die to get a bottle of that, but you know how it goes.
Oh yeah, I saw like Horst Lunig was just talking about the 15 Talisker. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I think that's the one you're going to have to get overseas for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't even over here at all, but he said it was very nice, much less Talisker-like, less peppery than the other one. So if you can find a bottle of the 15, you might want to jump all over that, especially if it's cask strength, their malt.
I would be game for that for sure. Yeah, I had the Talisker Darkstorm, travel exclusive. That one was okay. But I still didn't love it.
I'm surprised you didn't like the smoky. The only reason I like that one a lot, especially compared to the regular Storm, is the smoky factor I got out of it.
Yeah, definitely. And it just had a little bit creamier, like a creamier mouthfeel to it. It was oilier as well, but it was okay.
Do you see a problem here? I see a problem. I see a problem.
Definitely empty.
I'm gonna switch glasses just to
That's
see if I get any
glass
difference.
you got there, man.
Huh?
That's a funky glass you got there.
Oh yeah, the old dragon glass. I had to dig that out. But let me get a different glass. This one, I just want to see if it's a different profile. I'll be right back.
Do it. In the meantime, I'll catch up on the chat. What's up, y'all? Malted Montreal. What's up, Swami? Preferred the 25 to the 27 Lefroy. I've had the 25 and I love it. I've not had the 27, so I'm not sure on that one.
I think he's right. Actually, the 27 did not wow me because I was lucky enough to have it at an expo one time, and the 27 was not that great, surprisingly.
Ben Demon Hunter was talking about the 57 North, the 57 North Talisker. Have you had that one?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of it, like the Niche Point, the Port Ree, the 57 Degrees North, a lot of the crazy Talisker ones. I'm a big fan of the distillery. It's pretty good. I think you'd like it. It's a high ABV. It's like 57.6, I think, to be exact.
Yeah. Swami was saying he actually liked the Lefroy 25-27 more than the Ardbeg 19. Now, I know you are a fan of the Ardbeg 19.
I haven't opened mine yet. I'm surprised you would say
right?
that. Yeah.
That one, and that was one of those ones where it was like, man, I would love to try it, but I do like my peated whiskeys for the most part a little bit on the younger side, although some of the older Lefroys have challenged me on that. But
I don't know, man. $300 some for a 19-year-old Ardbeg. I mean, I don't know what you paid for it, but I've not heard much about it in terms of whether or not it's worth to buy at that price or not. But
I'll save you a sample. I'm not sure I'm not sure when I'll open it, but if I open it, you'll definitely be the first to know. But if I do, it will be, for something a little special. That thing cost me at least $300, so I'm not gonna.
Have you had any of those other ones? They're the 20-somethings that have come out. I know there's like a 25 out now.
The 20-something, the 23 to be exact, is the one that Mr. Lee Aquaman brought to the DC Expo, and that one was fan-fucking-tastic. I'm talking great. So hopefully this 19 will be comparable. I'm kind of nervous if Swami didn't like it as much as the Lafroigs, but Dustin's saying it drinks very highly peated and sparky. I like highly peated and sparky, so for 19 especially, I've heard really good things about this 19. I'm not sure if Swami's just messing with me or if he is being for real, but he thought it was a bit boring, it looks like. I guess we'll have to pop it open sometime and see.
Maybe we'll just have to pop it up. Maybe you're just going to have to open that bottle and tell us what you think.
I'm going to wait, I think, for you. I think when we get a meetup, if we if we get enough gumption to meet up and do like a little live stream, maybe we
should do it sooner than later. I don't know. Things are getting a little more safe here on the East Coast. It's not great, but might be worth the risk at this point.
Dude, I haven't
gone in Florida or Texas.
Dude, I haven't gone anywhere since March the 9th. You're safe here.
All right.
Seriously. The only place I've ever
sooner than later. Let's figure it out sooner than later.
The only place I've gone is the Walgreens drive-thru, and I'm thinking maybe the car wash, which is completely touchless. I just put my card in the machine and I drive through it, and that's it. I don't have to deal with anybody. So I haven't been around another person in like God that many months. It's crazy. Other than my family, of course, but that's been it. So we all have been staying close. So you're safe here, or if we decide to meet up and do a show or something, we could figure out something. I'm sure.
Do you have kids?
Huh?
You have kids?
I have one, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's 11, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Hopefully in bed by now.
He just hears his dad cackling downstairs periodically.
Yeah, I'm like,
doing on Tuesday nights.
It's Scotch night. She knows Scotch night. She knows it's time to hunker down in the bunker.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah.
This is the best bunker of all time down here.
For sure. It's you got everything around you that you need, man.
I try. It's not easy, but it's taken a while. It's crazy. I look back and think, when I first started this a few years ago, I had like a couple bottles back here, and that's about it. And Tosh talked me into like trying to put some back here, and then eventually like sprawled out around the whole. It's like 360. I wish I had a 360 degree camera so I could show you all the crazy bottles everywhere.
Yeah. So one thing on the Talisker, and I'd be curious, I'm seeing a lot of chat about this from Stephen Connor, Malt Montreal, a couple other folks. I have seen a bottle of Talisker 25. It's not cast strength. It's whatever the standard release is for $250.
I'll tell you.
You pull the trigger on Talisker 25 for?
You got to know which because there are batch variation. Like
that was the next question. Yeah,
there's year variations, I should say, with the 25. I've heard some great things about some 25s and not so great things about some 25s. The best person to ask, I think, on that would be Mr. Lee Aquaman. He actually has had the 25 several times, and he has been bitten by the bad one, and he's had a good one before, so he should be able to tell you more details about which years are better versus other ones. Anybody in the chat, feel free to speak now. Stephen Connor is another one that might know.
Yeah, DH actually mentioned that he knew the one I was talking about because it's from a place that he probably shops from too. It's an online place that has it for $250, and he's saying hard pass.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, look, man, like here's the thing. I can get another bottle of this beautiful Enoch 24 for $199.
I got it right there.
Yeah, or $50 more for something else, or a bottle of whatever you call it, the 25-year-old Talisker. And like I said, I like the 18-year-old Talisker, so I'm thinking to myself, maybe if I up the age, the profile will stand out for me, because there are things I really like about Talisker. I just don't like the younger stuff, which is super peppery. But I keep looking at bottles like this, which I just think is an absolutely stunningly good whiskey. It's at a really good price, even the 18-year-old. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to spend another, $65 just to get this older Talisker when I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to think about it.
No, I think it's a pass.
$250. That's a lot of money, man.
Steven's right. I mean, he says he's like, I'm a damn snob, but I only buy the older cast strength ones. Got to save up for the great ones, and that is true. I mean, once you've been burned,
yeah, and like to be real, man, like I'm not quite at that place in my journey yet. I mean, I'm about 4 years into Scotch, and so for me, it's been an evolution. And like folks like Stephen Connor, who definitely have a more sophisticated palate, definitely have some really good advice on things like this, which this is why we do this. Like I appreciate hearing this stuff from folks who have some strong opinions about kind of like where to spend your money. That's what this is all about, and so that's good advice. I appreciate that. Dustin, you too, man, like hard passing on that 25. Like that was my instinct, but I wasn't quite sure. I'm thinking to myself, like, again, if you think about it in terms of a journey,
that's exactly why I still do this.
Certain things at certain times, and what they're going to be. And when you talk to folks who've been sipping a little while longer and they're willing to share their advice about, hey, I didn't have a great experience with this one necessarily. I wouldn't spend $250, especially for working folks, man. A lot of the people in these chats, like, we're working people, man. Like, we ain't trying to spend $250 on some bunk ass whiskey. So, hearing from some folks who maybe got a little more means to test this stuff out for us, man, spread the knowledge.
That's why I do this still is after a while you do a lot of distilleries and you feel like you've run the gambit, but I learn still every day from Steven and Dustin and Peter and Swami and Richie and Andrew and all the guys that are in the chat. Like, and you don't even have to be, the funny thing is you don't even have to be like a 5-10 year veteran to teach somebody something. I've noticed you can, just have an experience with a whiskey in a certain way, and no one else has had that experience maybe that you've had, and you might know a way to get there and guide someone to get to that experience. It happens a lot, I think.
Yeah, totally. No, man, nobody's throwing shade, DH. I ain't judging you. I ain't saying you don't work, man.
He's saying a 30-year new Talisker is not bad, but that's the one he'd buy at $300. But it's not close to the old bottles of the cast strength ones. So I think Stephen Connor's got a point. I would probably save a little and shoot for one of those cast strength bottles at a higher age if you can.
Yeah.
They're lucky to have it because unless you've got like thousands, and I'm talking thousands, it's hard to get like an old Ardbeg cask,
Yep.
bottle from 2007 that's 23 years old. You're going to spend $3 or $4 for that, and it's just insane.
Totally, man. And for me, like, the last year has been a lot of exploring different independent bottlings, which I had not done a lot of. I've gotten a whole bunch of indie bottlings over the last year and been trying out different stuff periodically. And like, that's kind of where I've been at with some of this stuff. And you just keep kind of moving along. And like, that's kind of how it goes,
I can't believe he didn't get a box. Dustin, he's telling me that he, keep in mind these older cast strength Taliskers are $600 plus in price, which, but for an ultra high age and a high ABV, $500 to $600, really. If you save up for a few, 3 or 4 months, it's not, that bad. But he paid $550 for a 2005 bottle and didn't get a damn box. I would be in someone's shit over not getting.
Yeah, you're with the boxing, man. You know who would really kick up a storm about that is our boy Food Quick.
Hey, he's like me, man. I've got to have a box.
Wrap around the house with him.
I gotta have my place is exactly almost like his, except instead of stacking them up, I've spread, like, I've got like bookcases and built-in shelving down the other side. It's crazy, man.
Nice. I've thrown away most of mine, but there's a couple I keep. I usually keep the ones for a couple different distilleries. I've been keeping like my more of my like Isla stuff, and so I'll probably keep those, and then we'll see where it goes. But I think the distillery I have the most bottles and most tubes from is Lafroig.
About the same back here, probably.
Yeah, you have a hell of a lineup of Lafroig back there.
This is going to add nicely right between the lore and the 15, the lore and the 16. I'll put this 15 there. That'll be perfect. I'm going to have to get rid of the core and make room for like the new carriages and expand. That's my plan, because I've got the select, the 10 cask strength, the quarter cask, and the triple wood there, and the lore even. I'll probably take those out and just keep the 15, 16, 18 Encore PX cask, Q8 cask, carriages 2014 through today, and call it a day.
Do you keep the bottles in those, or are you just keeping the boxes?
The bottles are behind the boxes, actually.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, I always keep them kind of behind. That way, if I want to grab one, it's still, there is some juice like throughout the area, so I'll just move the can and get to the juice behind it, kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. So I'm sipping on some. This is one I was talking about this last week on my live stream. Loch Lomond 18. This is the cheapest 18-year-old single malt I've ever found, and I'll be honest, it's not bad. I got this for like $60. Have you ever had the Loch Lomond 18?
I have not. I've had the 12, and I've had the 12, and I've had the 18 in Schmieren, which is their heated 18.
Yeah.
It's a 48%. It's pretty good. Would I buy it again though at 180? I don't know about that. I mean, it was a higher price, especially compared to that one. But
yeah, non-chill 46%.
I got soapiness from the 12, so I was hesitant about trying a non-heated version.
So there's another distillery, and I don't know. I haven't spent the time reading about it, but there's this distillery, Grangestone. I'm assuming they're actually not a distillery. Maybe it's blended. But they're putting out like single malt 18-year-old, single malt 25. They have a single malt 25 that I've seen for $110.
That's one of those.
I don't know if anybody's ever had anything from Grangestone. I'm super skeptical. I haven't even thought about pulling the trigger on it for obvious reasons. But I'd love to hear if maybe it's a diamond in the rough and it's not bad. But I'm telling you, they have a 25-year-old whiskey you can get for like under $150.
I bet it's one of those blended companies like
I think so, yeah.
Like Portishead. If you're familiar with Portishead at all.
Yeah.
They basically repurpose like Kalila and some other things and do their own little blends and stuff. It's interesting, but
yeah, let me look it up. Yeah, I do think it is. I think it is a blend, but I'm not
or it might be like Chapter 7, like one of those independent bottlings that are just not well known yet. Possibly, I'm not sure. Anyone else have a Grangestone? I'm curious because I have seen those before myself. I never tried one though.
Yeah, man, they have I'm telling you. So I'm looking at a store right now that I know ships to most of the U.S. Not even kidding you on this.
They have
a 25-year-old single malt for $99.99.
Oh wow, that's crazy!
What?
Let me quell a myth here. Richie thinks that I'm not a big Macallan fan, but I am actually a big Macallan fan. I'm not a fan of Macallan prices. That's the difference. I'm a huge fan of the Edition 2. That's one of my favorite Macallans. I've had the 2, 3, 4, 5. I love the classic cuts. One of my favorite drams of all time, and I'm talking across the board of any distillery, is the Macallan Rare Cask Black. The Rare Cask Black is a awesome, and I mean awesome dram. The Rare Cask Basic one is not nearly as good as the Rare Cask Black. It was a Trevor Retail exclusive that was, $300 to $400 back in the day. Now it's probably a crazy amount if they still sell it, but that's one of my favorite top 3 drams, I'd say, but I am not a fan of their prices, and that's why I tend to stay away from them. What about you, Malt? Are you a fan of Macallan, or what do you think?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I haven't spent a lot of time with Macallan, mostly because I didn't find a lot of it all that interesting. Most of the older stuff, I just wasn't willing to spend the money on.
It's like,
the things that I've had from Macallan that I liked, Edition 2, Edition 4. I thought Edition 4 was really tasty. The Classic Cut 2018.
Yeah, that's the one.
That one was good. The 12, like, here's the thing, the 12, all of that, it's like 65, $70 for 12 liter. I think that when you can get a Glendronach, or even a Glenfarclas, I don't know.
He said the F word.
The Farkless. I'm just saying, man, like, I'm not spending that much money just because it's Macallan. I think their name, branding, they're emblematic of an over-branded whiskey, and it does well for them. It's not that they make bad juice per se. It's just, I don't think it's worth the money when you consider other options.
I think
I like the edition ones. The edition 3 and the edition 5 I thought were kind of whatever. The 5 was okay. The 3 I probably didn't really enjoy much at all. But the edition 2 was really good.
That was my favorite of all.
The edition 4 I thought was surprisingly good. It was more bourbony. That one was maybe even my favorite of them all. And then the Classic Cut. But again, what are you paying for the Classic Cut? That's the question. It's like, God, man.
Dustin's crazy. He thinks the 17 Classic Cut was good, but the 18 sucked. I think he's got it wrong.
Maybe it was the 17 that was good in the 18.
No, the 18 was good, but the 19 sucked. That's the way I remember.
Is that what it was?
That's the way I remember. But I didn't have the 17. Maybe the 17 was that much better even than the 18. But I thought the 18 was good and the 19 sucked. But I was lucky enough to have it as a gift when I went to visit KB and Bob H. up in New York, hanging out and trying some really good whiskey as kind of like a going away present. Bob threw in a Macallan Cut, the 2018. I thought it was good. It was one of those that reminded me though of the Dark Origins, where you had to drink it quickly. It did not do well with oxidation, so it's not one of those bottles that you can let sit around. You know what I mean?
I just don't remember if it was the 18 and the 19 or the 17 and the 18. But like the older one is the one I enjoyed. Maybe it was the 17. But I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this is not even comparable.
Here's the question. I think he's nailed it because I don't remember it being that hot. He said the 17 was 57%. The 18 was not that hot, I don't think. But that's the kicker.
It's all like, it's relative. I
don't even think it was close to 57% on the 18 year, though. Do you know what was the, Dustin, what was the year, the 18 ABV? I'm curious. Just to compare, because I don't remember it being that hot. But I do remember that with oxidation, it was not a good thing. You had to drink it quickly. The 18 and 19 were much lower ABV. They watered them down a lot more. Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's the deal then. Well, I can't debate you on that one. If the ABV was that different, then I would have liked the 17 better. But sadly, I've never had a 17. I had to just only deal with the 18. But I was happy to have the 18 compared to the 19.
Yeah, no, I'm in hindsight, I'm wondering if it was the 17, 18, because I don't remember I don't think I had the one from last year, which would have been the 19. So I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so like, long story short, I will not pay $270, $280 for Macallan 18, which is the going price. I think that's just freaking absurd. Macallan's, I'll be honest, like, other than the edition series, which I buy just for the fun of it, I don't really think about Macallan that much.
Yeah, Steven's even saying I'm not a Macallan fan at all. Price quality ratio is too low for the older ones regarding their secondary prices, like the pre-1990 18s and the classic strength, the class strength max. Not a fan of the Classic Cut either. Yeah, I felt that way about the Dark Origins, the Highland Park, when it got released. People were knocking me for not being all into it, but I thought, you know what? If I drink it in the first month, it's a good dram. But if after a month, I didn't enjoy it as much.
I don't know what a good dram is. This is
yeah. Damn, you still have a whole bottle of that shit.
Yeah, man. It's been a while, so I got to pour some.
I cleared mine out
You're looking for a diamond in the rough, heavily aged, unique.
I think I went through that in like a week.
I'm not 24, man. This stuff is so good. You said you've had a bottle of it though, right?
I think I went through that in like a week. It was so good, dude.
Oh, nice. I need to put some work into this one. I'm gonna probably review it eventually, but
Oh, if you haven't reviewed that, dude, you have to, because that
Oh.
is. I mean, the weird thing is, sadly, we're probably going to flood the market with that, because both of us are going to give that 4.5 out of 5 kind of.
Dude, this is easily a 4, if not 5.
It's very good. To me,
So
it's a
good.
4.5 out of 5.
The nose on this is absurd.
If I factored value into it, I probably would give it a 4.75. That's how strongly I feel about that being well priced, well complex, good mouth coat. It's kind of all around like slam.
Man.
It's like a slam dunk, isn't it?
So that finish just lasts for days too. I mean, the funny thing about this is, like, I really enjoyed the Enoch 18. I thought it was a little spicier, a little edgier than I expected, because the 12 is pretty. The 12, I think, is another really good 12 example of a good 12-year-old. But I'll tell you, man, this 24 is just absolutely stunning.
Just pray to God that Tybev, that's the people that own Ball Blair, Enoch, and Old Pulteney and Speyburn, that they don't change the line. Because if they change the line, you're going to kiss that bottle goodbye, my friend.
Dude, I might just have to get another one.
If you can find it, if you like it and you can find it, I would definitely buy at least an extra bottle, because I give it a year or two, and I don't think you're going to be able to see that anymore, sadly.
You don't think they're? I mean, but what could they do to it? I mean, the Ball Blair thing. I don't. Okay, so let me just preface it.
I think they run out of juice. Really,
I think not had any of the new Ball Blairs with the age statement stuff, so I don't know what to say about it. I don't got any opinion, but I've heard from some folks, being somebody who's really enjoyed both the presentation of the old Ball Blairs and honestly the quality of it, specifically the 90, which is the one I've had. I've not had anything older than that, but I've had the 99 as well. I was bummed when I saw that, and I've honestly heard that the new Ball Blair stuff is not that great.
I agree.
And honestly, like, why they did that is perplexing to me, because now their presentation just looks like any other Scotch whiskey. Whereas before they had that very unique presentation. Maybe the unique presentation was throwing people off, but I like to think that the market for Scotch, especially in a depressed economy right now, like, it's mostly people who can afford it, which means it's mostly people who know things about Scotch, which means mostly the people that would gravitate towards those Ball Blairs and not be thrown off by the, the fluorescent box presentation. But
I'll tell you exactly what they were thinking, and they got it wrong. They thought, oh, look, Highland Park is starting to put age statements and everything. We've got to get on the age statement bandwagon. Let's close the line. And we're running out of juice. They ran out of juice, too. And so let's close the line. Since we're running out of juice, let's reinvent ourselves as a age statement instead of a vintage year, like Roth still does to an extent, and put it out there like that, and I bet you we'll do better. But they didn't think to themselves, our new make and our old make are not the same at all, and it's that different, and just it's not gonna work as well. Same with Old Pulteney. The new stuff, the 15 was really good, but the 18 to me wasn't as good as the old 17, and not even remotely close to the 21. I mean, I just have a feeling they were selling so well because they used to have pretty good prices in Old Pulteney and Speyburn and Enoch and
I've never had a Speyburn.
Ball Blair. They're pretty decent. I have a Speyburn 15. I'm gonna get the 25 because you can still get the 25 for like $200, pretty cheap. So I'm gonna try to get my hands on that before they change the line. But I have a feeling that Enoch and Speyburn are probably gonna get the same thing happen to them if they run out of juice like they did with Old Pulteney and Ball.
They're just going to change the age statements?
I don't know about the age statements. I think they have to change them because the make that think of it as like you have a whole like a collection of casks and barrels and whatever, right? And you also have a new make collection of barrels. This old one you've been using for a while, and you're doing well with the 21,
right.
18, and I'm sorry, the 21 and the 17 and the 12. This new section you just started, you're not quite sure what to make of it yet. You're selling like hotcakes on this old one. You're doing really well. This one's aging and doing better. And then by the time you get out of this one, you have to switch over to this one.
Right.
I think the problem that TyBev's running into is that this new section is not the same quality as their old stuff, their old make.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why that is, though. If anyone knows why they're having problems keeping that quality up, because Old Pulteney and Ballblair are noted as being great distilleries. To see them go downhill is kind of depressing, to be honest with you.
Have you had the Old Pulteney 18?
I have had the new 15 and the 18, and I'm here to tell you that the 18 is not worth it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go with the 15. If you're going to do an Old Pulteney, the new stuff, do the 15. You will be thanking me. I'm telling you, because it's not even comparable. The old 17 and 21 are great. The new 15 is good and great, actually, I would say. It's like a 17-year-old, but the new 18 just didn't do it for me. It might have been because it was, I mean, you might think of it differently because you like a straightforward bourbon cask, and I think the 18 is more of a straightforward bourbon cask. The 15 has more of a sherry influence and a more complex to me. So that might have been why I enjoyed the 15 a lot more than the 18. So for you guys out there that are more like straightforward bourbon cask fans that like just a good solid age, you might be a fan of the new 18. Keep that in mind too, you know?
Yeah, I've had no intention of buying the new 18. I'm going to get the 15.
I would buy the 15 and get a sample of the 18. And that way you taste before you buy. Always try before you buy, because with whiskey, there's so many good fans out there. There's so many little expos here and there that you can attend.
Right.
There's no excuse to spend $200 or $300 on a bottle without tasting it first. There's just no excuse.
Although there are a couple I would recommend you don't have to taste before you buy because they're that good. Glengoyne 25.
There you go.
That's one, maybe, or Bruichladdich Black Art.
That I can attest is that's one of the best bottles of whiskey I've ever had is the 4.1.
Yeah.
That is solid, man. I'm tempted to get. It's funny. I've had it like several samples of it. I've never had my own bottle of Black Arts. I've got to get one at some point. It's that price is just killing me. I mean,
yeah, it's worse.
And I don't want to spend $300 or $400 on a new one. I want the 4.1, but the 4.1 is going to cost me, crazy $500-$600. I don't want to spend that much on that.
Yeah.
Now, Dustin, keep in mind, I never had pre 4.1. The 3, 2, and 1 might be better, but I sure as hell can't afford that if I can barely afford the 4.1. So let's not even think about going pre 4.1 if we can. Now, if you have a way to get me a 3.1, 2, or 1 for a reasonable price, I will jump all over it. But the 4.1 was $270 recently online. Well, I'll tell you what, Dustin, send a message to Telex.
No, he should just pick it up and mail it to you. You can pay him back. He's good for it.
That too.
Just mail it to him, bro.
That too. Or email telex@outlook.com. TELEX@outlook.com.
Yeah, right.
Send me a link and I will jump all over that shit for $270. It'll be the fastest bottle they ever sold because that is a good price for that bottle.
That's the best price you'll ever find that for.
Please send it to me, Dustin. I'm begging you. I'm in love with that bottle. That's one of the best whiskeys I've had, and I've had a lot.
Yeah, it's one of the best whiskeys I've ever had too. I got a bottle open, and then I think one other.
Oh man!
I found it for $310, $315, not $310.
That's a good price still.
Yeah, I just bought it. I just had to do it.
Anything under the $350, I think, is a really damn good price.
Yeah, I don't know what they sell the new ones for.
Well, the new ones sell.
Cruisin said that $270 is an open bottle.
The new ones sell for $300. The new ones sell for $300-ish, but the old ones are marked up secondary. But any Black Arts off the shelf should be around $300. That should be the bottom staple. Like Gary said, he got it for $300. That's about what it is.
Are they selling? I know that they're continuing the range, right? So the 4.1 was the last one that Jim McEwen did, and then the new guy took over and has been doing the 5, 6, and now there's a 7.
There's a 7 available now. Yeah, I would much rather have the Jim McEwen, and I'm here to tell you guys, I can taste a huge Huge difference between the 4 and the 5.
Oh,
When
so
I
you
had
got
it,
the 5.
I've had the 5 and the 6, and the 4 is excellent compared to the 5 and the 6. And I'm not sure what Jim did, but there's this white truffle oil note I get with the 4. I can't get out of the 5 or the 6, or I'm sure the 7 doesn't have it either. If I had to say,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how far they're going to go with this. This is just going to be an annual thing they do every year.
it's 23-year-old whiskey typically. I think aren't they all 23 years? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they get older than that. I think that
Oh,
the 6.1 was a 26-year or a 25-year, if I'm not mistaken.
oh wow.
Yeah. So they get older and younger. I believe there's some younger ones too, but they're all over 20 as far as I understand.
You would think that it would get better with the age, but I'm not sure what it is. But the 4 to 5 transition, it did not have the truffle that I wanted. I wanted that truffle, and I was pissed when I didn't get it.
Hey man, knowing what you want, brother, and you know what you want.
You should have seen me at the expo when there was a Brook Lottie representative there, and I'm trying the 4, and I'm like, man, this is I had the 4 before, and I'm trying the 5, and I'm like, what happened? I think my first 2 words to him was, "What happened?" He probably wasn't too happy about that, but I'm like, "What happened between the 5 and the 4? The 4 had this savoriness that it was overly complex to the point of just being like the War and Peace version of whiskey. It was War and Peace in a bottle. It was that good, and they just didn't have it with the 5.
Word, man. Yeah, I have not had any of the newer ones. I'd love to try them, but the 4.1 blew my mind. It's, for me, probably the best whiskey I've ever had. If not close.
I want to bring something up that Trooper Henry just brought up that got me on a roll last time, and Steven knows what I'm talking about. You already left last week, and I, for some reason, kept it going for another hour or so.
No, right on.
And I was on a roll, and we were talking about the Ardbeg Black, right? Now,
yeah,
the Ardbeg Black, both of us were pretty big fans of, especially compared to the drum.
Oh
now,
yeah.
Some of these guys, and I'm looking at Steven, and I think there was a couple other ones too, not to single him out. There was a couple other guys that were saying that they thought the black tasted young. And I'm trying to I'm usually pretty good about tasting refinement, and that usually brings out complexity, even though it might be subtleness, but it brings out kind of like an antique kind of feel to the whiskey. You can usually taste it if it's aged. But I'm not even talking like 18, 21 year stuff. I'm talking I thought there was at least some 15-year-old stuff in there.
Okay. I'll be honest with you, Telex. I think the reason that some folks pick up that it's young is probably because it is. There may be a little bit of older stuff in there, but I don't think I've had a committee release from Ardbeg that I would have described as having over 10, 12-year-old whiskey in it.
Really?
Again, it's crude. I think the reason I think the black is good, and which I do think it's good, I just think that the fundamental style of Ardbeg's peated new make works really well with the Pinot Noir. I just think it's a good whiskey. Is it $140 whiskey? No. I think the price is absurd, and I wouldn't pay for that, especially when you can get Ugadal, Corey Vrecken, things much cheaper.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. For me, it's hard to say also with the committee release because it's 52%, but boy, I don't know. It's hard pressed for me to say that there was that much age in that. I think that Ardbeg's been selling young whiskey in these for a long time, and I'm fine with that. I don't know. I'm not convinced it was much older.
But do you think to give it that complexity that we got with and without the water, to get it to that stage where you've got more than what I would consider multiple notes on something, I'm surprised that they could do it with 12.
How many Pinot Noir whiskeys have you had?
That's a good point. Now, the red wine cask might. I mean, this one is probably maybe have had some of that, but that goes to show that it doesn't really help, even if it's 21 years old either.
Yeah, man. I mean, like that's the thing, right? Like, here's my point. I don't. First of all, I don't care how old it is. I care how it lands with me compared to other things. And look, I don't think the black was something to write home about, but I think it was much better than the drum. But I think it's mostly to do with the fact that, honestly, it just worked better. Like, I think Ardbeg style just worked better with the Pinot. I haven't had, I mean, I can count on one hand how many Pinot whiskeys I've had.
Right.
So, look, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not Ardbeg Wee Beastie. You know, it's not like they're putting 5-year-old in there and then just
that's what it
felt
like he said, and I'm pointing you out, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's 5-year-old whiskey, but I mean, how much? Here's what I think. I think finishes. I think funky new maturations, which I don't have a comparison point to, can make me think it's older than it is. I don't think that takes away from the fact that it's a good whiskey. I do think it's a good whiskey. I think the black was totally solid. I enjoyed drinking it. I have a committee release. I bought it impulsively because I'm an Ardbeg fanboy. I don't give a fuck. Hold on. I'm just going to say it. But like, I'm not deceived by the fact that there's like, I wouldn't characterize it as being like, oh man, not only is this great, but like you're missing out, right? There's like 20-year-old whiskey in this.
Hold on.
Man. This is a marketing thing.
Dustin just said that there's 5-year-old whiskey in that black.
I mean, maybe. Like, I mean, who cares?
Bullshit.
It's an arbitrary point.
That's bullshit.
Maybe there is. Maybe it's 10-year mixed with some 5-year mixed with some. And the Pinot Noir just rounds it out and makes it like. Look,
there is no fucking way. Now, excuse my French, but there's no fucking way that there's 5 to 6 maxed out whiskey in that dram. There's no way.
Here's what I'd say. It doesn't matter insofar as you enjoy the spirit, but it matters insofar as, is that something you should spend $140 on? I did because I'm an Ardbeg dork and I'm just going to buy it because, let's be real, I just bought it because they said they had it. I'm like, oh shit, I better get this. But I'm not going to like pretend that it's the most amazing thing ever. And honestly, like, bro, let's be real. You had the drum last year. You know it works, it works. Now, what would be great? In 5 years, Ardbeg puts out a 15-year Pinot Noir.
I gave it a 4.25 out of 5.
Yeah,
it's not it. I gave it a considerable good score, but I didn't go with 4.5 or 4.75 or 5. I gave it a 4.25. I thought that was fair for what you got out of the bottle.
Totally agree.
And I don't factor value into it. And
if I know.
Then it would have been,
But like, I mean, pour a glass of the Long Row Red Pinot 10 and compare it to the Ardbeg Black. And if you can decipher enough between the fundamental characteristics of it, I'm sorry, but I think the Long Row's probably got a little more. I think you could be able to detect more age on it. But like, again, this isn't a slight. All I'm saying is finishes can do a lot to, in my opinion, and from what I've learned, kind of do a lot to mask over younger whiskey. That's why NAS whiskey sells so well. Like, because you get something that's relatively decent tasting, and there's some good NASs out there. I don't know, man. 15 whiskey though in that black, I don't know, man.
I guess Dustin nailed it. They just had really kick-ass casks.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's good. It's a good pour. And I guarantee you, for anybody that like hates on it, if you got poured that blind, you'd probably like it more than you do. And like, that's a judgment I'm making.
They said they could taste. They said, hold on. They said they could taste the youth in the whiskey, and that it was so young that they didn't enjoy it as much as something else. And I'm like, well,
yeah, but comparisons are odious. That's not the point. Like, the point is, like, does it stand up on its own? Put aside price. This is why you do it blind. If I got poured a dram of the Ardbeg Black Committee release, I'd be like, wow, this is a really, really tasty whiskey, because it is.
Yeah.
It just is. I don't care. Like, now, when you ask me if it's worth $140 of my money, My honest answer is no.
Well, hold on. Now let's go. Now I'll agree with them that they could taste the youth of it. I'm not gonna. I was kind of offended a little bit because I am an Ardbeg fanboy, and I admit it.
You can definitely taste the youth of it, no doubt.
Yeah, you can taste the youth, but they're not given the props for the cask, and that's where I get kind of miffed. Is they're not. Yeah, okay. Let's say it's all 5-year shit in there. But the casks that were picked by Mickey Heads was something special. There was something special with that dram.
It's not garbage,
It's far from fucking garbage. It's like it might not be like outstanding, black arts level, but it's definitely well above a fucking Benriach 21. I mean, hell, you could give a 21-year-old whiskey and still not even come fucking close.
Look, man, I have never claimed to be an aficionado. I have never claimed any of that shit. But I'll say this: I know that like cask quality is as important as I was saying an hour and a half earlier today, as important as the spirit itself.
That's why I wish they would admit it. They won't admit it though. That's what kills me.
I'm not sure who I don't know. I mean, just to be, I'm not sure who you're referring to on that, but I will say, like, so what? All that matters is if it's a good quality, enjoyable experience. And for me, and you and I differ on this.
I enjoyed it
for
highly.
Me, it becomes price. If you, I am seeing right now the regular, the release of the Ardbeg Black, not the committee release. We're talking 46%. My brother, of all people, just bought it because he thought it looked good. It was 40. It's 46%. It's $140.
Oh no!
If he would have texted me at first, I'd been like, "Nah, man,
no."
Whiskey. But
where did he find it for that price? Was it at a local store?
Price everywhere. That is the price everywhere.
140.
Man, I just
hold on. You're telling me. Hold on. You're telling me that the new 46%.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
The LR, not the CR, but the LR is 140.
Yeah, man.
That's unreasonable. I'll agree.
Why is it unreasonable? That's unreasonable because you think the quality of the whiskey doesn't match the price.
Is this the same price as the damn CR? And the CR is 50. What was the ABV on that?
140?
For the ABV, I was much more willing to pay 130 to 140 versus the LR, which is 46%. Now you're really getting screwed. That's where I get pissed.
Come on, man. Like, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire on this a little bit. You really think the committee release Ardbeg Black NAS just because of the Pinot Noir and that you like Ardbeg is worth $140?
No, I'm saying that I was willing to pay 130-ish for the CR versus definitely big time versus the limited release.
Yeah, dude, limited release. I'm not kidding you. It's $130.
That should be 110 max. 110 max.
Exactly, and that's generous, right? Like exactly. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, like you were saying, it's about the quality of what it's aged in. And I think the reason that you like the black and the reason I like the black is because it's a good whiskey. And it's a good whiskey because it was aged in good casks. I don't give I'm not one of these people that like thinks an NAS is, anathema to being quality. There's good and there's bad. I think it's overpriced. I recognize it's overpriced. I admit it's overpriced. I admit I paid overpriced.
But a little bit. It's not like people are acting like it's some big, different.
Who could all better?
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Real.
Okay, hold on. Dalmore. Hold on. I'm on my soapbox now, buddy. I'm about to
take it, man. Take it.
Dalmore goes. The 18-year-old goes from 160 to 220. Okay. Now I know it's age, but that doesn't mean anything when it comes to the taste. Versus the black being 130-ish, 140-ish for the CR. Yes, it's a little higher, but we're talking $10-20 max. We're not talking $50 difference. That's where you burn me. When you talk about these Macallan and Dalmore prices, now we're getting way out of fucking hand. Sorry,
I'm with you on that,
ballistic on that shit.
But you also come on, like I do have to mention this. Like you're comparing it to Dalmore.
But they're a well-known. Hold on. But Dalmore and Macallan are well-known brands. Dalmore and Macallan are well-known distilleries that everyone knows.
I don't know what Dalmore is known for, other than that goofy guy, that bourgeois motherfucker who like throws his whiskey on the floor, talking about telling working people they should throw their first expensive bottle of whiskey on the floor so he can get the screw that guy.
You know what I'm saying, though? I mean,
no, I hear you.
Even Lagavulin, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
What would they charge for 21-year-old Lagavulin? Are you fucking kidding me? There's no fucking way I'll ever be able to afford that bottle.
No, that's
I can. Ardbeg 21 is not much better, but it's at least a little bit more attainable by about $500. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is crazy.
Oh, man, look, dude.
Hold on, Steven's offended that I compared it to Dalmore.
I'll be honest, I've had an indie Dalmore before that I thought was like surprisingly decent, but
they're very good. The indies are great. It's kind of like Bowmore. If you buy a Bowmore or a Dalmore, don't get the official bottling. Just get the independent bottling.
Yeah, you have to. But yeah, man, in some, like, we don't have to agree on this, but my general opinion is like I overpaid for the Ardbeg Black, and I did it knowingly.
About $10 or $20 max. Go
ahead. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good whiskey. It's probably young. It doesn't have an age statement on it, so I have to assume that it's probably young. I don't know how young, but it's young. The casks were good. It made it a competent whiskey. It tastes delicious. It's better than the drum. I was happy with it.
It's a hell of a lot better.
But
oh my God, dude. I mean, let's be real.
They get away with it. Like, it's ridiculous that they can sell the limited release for $140, and until people stop buying it, it'll go lower.
Let's be real. The Black and the drum were that different.
Oh yeah,
as well as the Dark Cove and the drum.
Here, do you want to know why? Here's my bottle of Drum CR that I got over a year and a half ago.
Oh Jesus! I cleaned it out in a week.
I don't enjoy it. I paid $110 for it. I regret it. I bought it because I like Ardbeg and I like buying the committee release because it's fun and I enjoy the experience and I enjoy tasting it. So I don't give a shit. Like, that's just what it is.
I know some people are gonna argue with me about the Kelpie, but I think the drum was the only release so far that I've been disappointed with Ardbeg on. I can't think of another one that's been a disappointment comparatively.
I've not had enough. The grooves was solid.
It was okay. I mean, the committee release was good. The limited release was not so good. But comparatively,
yeah.
The select for Lefroy is the drum of Ardbeg to me. It's like everyone has an off day.
Oh man, the select, yeah. Here's the thing though, and I'm going to give kudos to I'll give kudos to Ardbeg for the Wee Beastie in this respect. Dude, they put an age statement on it. It's 47.4%. I don't know why anybody would say, I'm going to spend $6 less and get that over the Ardbeg 10. But I'll give them kudos for putting the age statement on it and bottling it at 47.4%. Unlike Lefroy, who's like, I'm going to put a sub whiskey under our 10-year-old age, and I'm going to put it at 40% NAS. It's weak. It's awful. I mean, I'll give them kudos for that. I don't think the drum or the Wee Beastie is a bad whiskey. I just
no.
It is.
I want to try it really bad, but I'm about to go crazy on somebody. Dustin just thought that this is about to make me go ballistic. Regular Grooves is better than the Black committee release. There is no, and I mean absolutely
maybe he doesn't
zero
like
chance.
No, he's all about bold statements. So what do you expect?
He's been
not like Pinot Noir though.
He's been huffing goofballs, dude. There's no fucking way.
Huffing goofballs.
He's been huffing goofballs, man. There's no way.
Trooper Henry said Lefroy's like the Coors Light of Isla.
He's exactly right. He is the winner.
Trooper Henry is Kobe Bryant from behind the 3-point line, nailing it in overtime. Exactly.
Steven's been disappointed with everything after Dark Cove for committee release. I'm surprised he didn't get the Kelpie. I like the German Spätzle breakfast Kelpie dram, the Grooves, beach campfire. I mean, fuck, dude, in the black. What the fuck's wrong with you people? I'm sorry, but I'm just about to go crazy.
Hey man,
I guess I just love the Ardbeg make, even though I don't like
Kobe
the
from the three. I mean, this is a classic case. You're saying Kobe can't hit a 3-point shot? You watch the NBA for the last 15 years, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm lost on that one. I don't watch NBA basketball.
Love you, man, but
I take it that Kobe Bryant was pretty
good. We could say Steve Kerr.
Oh man! Next Ardbeg committee release is going to be called Goofballs from Andrew Page. Wouldn't it be funny if they took me up on that and they were like, "We're going to release Ardbeg Goofballs"? That would be hilarious.
I'm a Bucks fan, man. You think the Bucks? Do you think when the NBA season comes back, the Bucks can keep the momentum going and take it this year? I hope so, man. I'm a Milwaukee. I grew up in Milwaukee. I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Dustin's a big NBA fan too. If I had to pick a team to watch, I mean, Washington Wizards, unfortunately, have never been all that great. But if I watched local, I would watch the Wizards, I guess. But I always grew up as a Bulls fan back in the 80s and 90s. That was, and I was in Kentucky. That was the team to watch anyway. So,
yeah,
that's it. Sorry, Trooper. I was getting a little serious because I just can't. I just cannot understand how someone's going to compare the black and say that the limited release of Grooves is not as good as the committee release of the new black. That just blows my mind. I just don't get it, but I don't know. Anyway, I guess we better wrap this up, man.
Alrighty. It's been fun as always, man. We will reconvene next week. Stay safe, be well.
Yeah, I'll be looking at an Altavania, a peated dram that you probably haven't even heard of or tasted before.
This is what I've been learning something about a new distillery every week, which makes this a lot of fun. And always fun chat. Everybody's got all sorts of experiences and stuff to share, which is always making this great. Appreciate all of you as well. You all stay safe, be well, wear a fucking mask, don't be silly. So that way we can make sure we all see you guys next week.
Definitely. And if you have a chance to try a peated version of Benriach, don't be afraid. They have really good peat in their offerings, I think. Get an older one if you can. I appreciate you, Malt, stopping by. And it's like with anything else, you gotta try the peat though, because they're like Enoch has got some good peat and some not so good peat, in my opinion. Not so much in the flouter, but I like the cutter. So that tells you. Excuse me. Well, thank you so much, guys, for stopping by. I got a little animated, but I'm sticking up for my Ardbeg clan here. But yeah, no, I'm not going to dispute there might be younger stuff in there. But man, those casks were damn good. I guess I should put it that way. It's just hard to discern the younger versus older versus good cask versus not so good. There's a lot going on. So yeah, Trooper, this is a Lafroig 15 I've been sipping on. Have you had this before, Trooper? I'm just curious. It's I was something that I was lucky enough to pick up from a fellow watcher. I put out there that I was a big fan of the dram. It's been about a few years since I've got to taste it, and I was reminiscing, and he was gracious enough to send me it at a really reasonable price. So I had to pick it up, and I've been sipping on this. I'm already down to the label. I'm about to pour me another dram. So if you want to join me, that would be cool. I'm going to pour me another one. What the hell, right? Yeah, sorry, Steven. I didn't mean to give you shit. It's just passion. That's all it is. I get into some of these drams because I tell you what, man. just step back. No, I know. No, Steven, I know that you have the means to get a lot of the crazy old stuff, a lot of great casks. You know your whiskey. I'm not disputing that by any means, shape, form. He does great on on tastings when we have tastings virtually with other people. He's always good about picking out ages and ABVs and distilleries and whatnot. So to me, Ardbeg is one of the very few distilleries that gets NASs correct. Maybe maybe this is where we should go here. Who, besides Highland Park, maybe, and Ardbeg, maybe Laphroaig, maybe Bunnahabhain. I'm not counting Kilchoman because they don't really have a lot of 10 plus 12, stuff. They have it, but they don't have it readily available yet. Who does NASs the best? I mean, who does it right better than Ardbeg? I can't think of a distillery that can do it justice. I mean, that does it right. That takes, yes, some young shit, but puts some young, some older stuff in there. And maybe it's 12 minimum. Maybe it's 8. Okay, I will attest to it being, but they get the superb casks. Maybe that's where they come in, and that's why I love that Kelpie so damn much. Those Black Sea casks, dude, were fucking phenomenal. Those Black Sea casks are exceptional, especially the CR. I even like the limited release, but I like the CR a lot better. The CR I thought was really pretty damn good, but I got a couple bottles of the 200th anniversary 15 Trooper says, and I love it. Well, there you go, my friend. Well, join me in a little dram here, Trooper. Let's talk about it. Let's have a little sip and think about what we like and what we don't like. There's nothing I don't like about this dram other than it's 43%, which is crazy because it tastes like a 46 and above. It's a little thin maybe, but I think it's pretty good. Dustin says, I'm honestly shocked about your dislike of the regular grooves. That was a really good bottle of me. I don't dislike it. No, this is what Dustin, I'm gonna tell you what happened here. This is God's honest truth. Steven and I were having a tasting with a fellow named Mo. And Mo was having an Ardbeg Grooves, and he had the limited release. And we were on Zoom and we were having a good time and we were talking about it. He was experiencing it, and he made the statement that it seemed a little flat. And I was like you. I was surprised. I was like, flat? What the fuck? What are you talking about, dude? It's not flat. And then I went back and thankfully I still had like a half a bottle left. So I poured me some to see if he was full of shit or if he was correct. And maybe it's influence here that influences some of our experiences, but I thought he was right. Compared to the committee release, which I know was kick ass, was great. The limited seemed, and this is what makes it tough when you're used to dealing with 50, 57, 60 plus percent ABV, and then you go back to 46%. It's like, what the fuck just happened? It's like it blows your mind how different the experience is. And I shouldn't knock it. I'm not saying it was bad. It just wasn't as great compared to that 50 plus 51, 56%, ABV. It definitely makes a big difference. So that's the reason why I was kind of like, feeling it didn't like meet the same level of greatness as the grooves. Now, if I'm looking back now, I'm sure my scores were different, but if I'm scoring the groove CR, I would give it a 4.5. The limited release, I would give it 3.75 to a 4. That's not killing it, but it's just not as good. That's just the way I felt about it. I don't know. That's just the way it came across. Steven says, I believe that Ardbeg does this the best. I love their core ones. I'm saying that I think the Black CR is not worth the price at all. I like the Corey and Oogie open older ones much more than the Black CR. Well, let's put it this way, Steven, for the price. I get that when you go in and you're spending money on a whiskey, you're doing this. You're probably thinking age means more money, but also you got to take apart these casks. These New Zealand Pinot Noir casks they're using are probably not the cheapest things in the world. I don't know what they cost. I don't know if it's more expensive than a different Pinot Noir cask. I mean, New Zealand is a pretty fucking remote place if you think about it. Peter Jackson films Lord of the Rings there, for God's sakes. that should mean a little something. But with that said, it's probably a little more expensive for that. So maybe that's why the black costs a little more money. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here to an extent. Andrew says the Kelpie is great. I love the Corey and Oogie too. So maybe Ardbeg does the NAS the best, but Laphroaig lore is amazing, and I'll agree there. The lore is great. Ugadal is probably one of the best expressions NAS-wise you can get, period, of any distillery. Here's a good challenge for you guys. Name me a distillery that is better. Name me a bottle that's an NAS that's better than the Ardbeg Ugadal. Any year. 2008, I don't care. Tell me a better bottle of an NAS that's better than the Ardbeg Ugadal. That's a challenge for you. Cheers. And yes, it's only 43, but it's so much nicer than 10. That's the thing. I mean, the 10 is great if you are, I'm a peat head. I love peat. But the purists, that's who gravitate toward the 10 and the 10 cast strength, like Malt Muser was talking about. The 10 cast strength is one of his favorites, and I'm not knocking him for it. It is good. But it's one-dimensional when it comes to the sherry. You got to have sherry, to me, to make it more complex, more well-rounded. It's more refined. It's got 5 years on it. It is a bit different. Even though it's not as high ABV as the cast strength 10, I'll give you that. But for finish to me makes a whiskey or breaks a whiskey in a lot of ways. If you have a great nose, I'll give you props. It's great. If you have a great palate, okay, I'm still with you. If you have a shitty finish, I'm sorry. I'm not going to spend over $100 for your whiskey if I can help it. That's just me. I got to have a finish. If I don't have a finish, it ain't fucking worth it. Cheers. Okay, here we go. I like the lore also from Steven. I have a couple early ones I grabbed when they came out. Suppose they have a decent amount of older whiskey in it. Yeah, they do, Steven. The lore has upwards up to, and I'm not sure if this is true. Daniel Johnston could probably only tell us if it's true or not, but I've heard they have up to like plus 20 to 30-year-old stuff in there. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I hear. Always bring the ABVs to equal if you're doing side-by-sides. Yeah, side-by-sides are tough if you don't have the equalization going on there. Cannot wait to have both the Corey and lore for the first time in the next month or two. Ben, Demon Hunter, you've never had the Corey Vrecken or the lore. Holy shit, dude. You got to get your hands on both of those bottles. That's kind of the best of what Laphroaig Core has to offer. And one of the best are Ardbeg cores. I mean, next to the Ugadal that you can get. I mean, Corey Vrecken is a little more like a Talisker with the white and black pepper, but I love it when I'm in the mood for a peppery dram. It's a good one. The new Corey doesn't taste, in my opinion, anything like the old Corey from Dustin, and that used to be my go-to Ardbeg. Yes, I'm the same way with the Ugadal, man. The 208, the 2008 Ugadal is a lot better than 2018 Ugadal. I can definitely vouch for that because I've had both of them. But this is what's going to happen. They're going to run through the juice. They're going to gonna shell it out as much as they can until they run out of it. They're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and do some of this because those casks are getting overly used. That's just the way it is. It's all about price quality ratio, not age. Well, then if that's the case there, Stephen, then you should enjoy the black, being that they're New Zealand Pinot Noir casks, I would think, for the price. You're paying for those casks, not just the age, you're paying for the casks. Those casks are a lot better than the casks they used on the drum, the Kelpie, maybe. I mean, Black Sea was probably pretty specialized, but the grooves, the drum casks were not as specialized, I'd say, as the black casks. So there you go there. I'm thinking. Trooper likes the lore. I'm with you there. I think so. Bought to Stephen from Andrew. Bought a lot of bottles over the past few years. I'm lucky enough to find a store that sells it for $80. Consistent quality and probably 20 plus whiskey in it. I think he's talking age. Better than Ugadal? Corey reckon that's easy? Dustin, come on, man. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. The spice, if you're a spice head, then yeah, the Corey reckon is a hell of a lot better than Ugadal. But if you're a sherry fan, you're going to like the Ugadal better than the Corey, I think. But, I mean, that's just me. Also, Laura McKellen Classic Cut 2017 was better. McKellen Rare Cask, I've had a few Boonins I liked better. Okay. Great deal and worth that price every day to Andrew. For the same thing about the lore on the ages. Yeah, they have some really old shit in there. And I think that's the only reason you saw the 15 and the 18 go away is they were running out of old juice, guys. I'm just being point blank blunt with you. They ran out. That's why you have the select, the 10 cast strength, the quarter cast, the triple wood, and lore. And that's it for the core. There's got to be some older juice in there because they have to make it work. Due to that price, I always have a bottle of it on hand. Someday it will probably go up in price. But for now, it's amazing and grateful for it. Which bottle are you guys talking about? Is it the lore for 80 that you're talking about? 80 is a really damn good price because usually here it's like 110 to 130. It's crazy. If I saw the lore for 100 or below, I would jump all over it. It's very, very good. Demon says, only got into Scotch last May, discovered the Ugadal last September. My first peated Scotch was Ugadal. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. The Ugadal being your first peated Scotch. Wow, man. That is surprising, but a good thing, I guess. I mean, I'm surprised you would enjoy it because that's a very good, potent, peated, sherried, I don't want to say mess, but melding. It's a little hotter than I thought you would get into for a first peat. If you're going to recommend a first peated Scotch to somebody that's Isla, what would you recommend that's not the Ugadal? Oh, man. The lore is up there, too. I would say the lore definitely for Laphroaig, their classic lineup. The Kilhoman Lochgorm, Ben, Demon Hunter, you need to get the Kilhoman Lochgorm. That should be on your radar big time. The Bunnahabhain Krugvona. It's a Traveler Till exclusive. You'll have to do some homework. You'll have to order it overseas. But if you live in a state that can get stuff shipped to you, the Krugvona from Bunnahabhain is the best peated that I remember. I'm sure there's some Moyne older ones that are even better, but we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If you want to spend like $70, $80 and get a good peated Bunnahabhain, the Krugvona is where it's at. The Kilhoman Lochgorm, about $100 where it's at. Kilkerran, man, peated. They do have a new heavily peated. I haven't tried it. I've heard mixed reviews on it. That might be worth it. What do you guys think of the new? Well, it's not new. I'm sure there's a couple batches out already, but the Kilkerran heavily peated, is that worth a gamble? Um, and the Lagavulin Distillers Edition, you should get your hands on that for sure. I'm thinking. Just pulled out the Lafroig 15, and may I say I've missed it? Sweet peat mellow. Oh, yes, my friend. To me, I love it because it brings out the perfect balance of the peat and the smoke and the fruit and the florals. It's across the board, four-way spectrum. The nose is one of the best things about this strain, I have to admit. But man, I love the taste too. And tell me, Trooper, do you get a cola note on the finish? I love it. It's if you don't get cola, you probably get either milk chocolate or mushroom gravy or some sort of savory note. Let me know what you get on the palate there. Damn it, Telex, I don't think that Black is all like a great cask young whiskey. Well, that's the thing. Is it only age that makes a whiskey? No, it's also great cask that makes a whiskey. You're going to have to pay for it too, but I don't know. It's kind of a tough deal. So the standard black for 125, 46 worth it. Oh man. See, now that's where I'd have to draw the line. I don't think it's worth 125. Now, yes, it's got great casks. But if you're going from 51 or whatever, 51 point something to 46% for 125, when I know you can find the black CR for like 150, no, go for the CR for 150. It's out there. You might have to do some homework to find it. Go for it. Still good for the $84 in Louisiana. That is a steal. You should get like 3 bottles of that shit, I would say. But for $80 in New Jersey, hell yeah, that's a great price. Dustin says, Army Black used great cask. They were wasted on young spirits. Well, I look at it this way. If they took the great casks and put it with old spirit, you'd be paying $300 for it. So there you go. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Ukatal was my first peated one, and I loved it. Oh, for Steven, that was your first peated dram? No fucking way, dude. No, hold on. No, when did the Ugadal get released? Isn't that? I guess that was around what was it? 2008? I guess that's about right. Never mind. I'm thinking it's been a lot. I'm thinking it was like before that, but I think that's about right. So never mind. But yeah, it's very, very good, and it kind of pissed me off because those casks were good. Ugadal was the first peated Scotch that explained to me smoke. I found the Ardbeg 10 was peat. Yes, that is a good point, Dustin. Peat and smoke are not the same thing, and I get frustrated when trying to explain this to people that a lot of people think peat and smoke are the same. They're not. Peat is that effervescent, sprightly brightness that you get out of a whiskey that's peated. It's got a nice bright tinge to it that wakes your taste buds up. That is the peat. The smoke is that darkness, that billowing. If you ever smoked a cigarette in your life, that kind of feeling to it. That's a whole different experience, and I'm glad that he brought that up because that's a whole different thing. Yeah. Ugadal became my favorite Scotch, hands down. After the second step, had a sample of Lochgorm 19. Oh, okay. Will be my first Kilchoman. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that bottle. I really like the Lochgorm for a sherried Scotch. Now, if you're feeling adventurous and if you are thinking, okay, I've already had the Lochgorm, I want to get something different, get the Kilchoman at red wine cask matured. Now, Malt Muser won't agree with me on this one, but I really love that one. I thought that one stood out. If you want a savory dram, if you like the Lochgorm 16 kind of thing, go for the Kilchoman Sinag. That is a comparable dram. If you like the grooves, the Kilchoman STR Matured is kind of a comparable dram to that. I think not as good as the Ardbeg grooves by any way, shape, or form as far as fruit, but it does have the charred, the staved, the extras, the smoke and charred factor going on. But the Kilchoman original cast strength is still one of my favorite Kilchoman releases and will always be one of my top favorites. So keep that in mind. And the Kilkerran 8 cast strength and 12 year. Those two are great. They're not peated. Well, are they peated? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember getting a lot of peat from them. They're maybe slightly peated, if any peat, but very, very well done. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I've had those two. I think there was some slight peat going on there, but I don't remember it being like as much as an Ardbeg or anything. Is this still live? Sorry, I had to call. Yes, we're still live, my friend. We're still live. Out of the Groove CR, pointing some Kelpie CR. Okay, Steven, here. Hold on here. Okay. You've got to be getting some German breakfast, Spätzle, mustard, sauerkraut, Black Sea casks. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm yes, there might be some young whiskey in there, Stephen. I know you're going to say that, but the Black Sea casks, those are something special, I think. I never had a whiskey that tastes like Kelpie ever, and I don't think I'll ever have one after it. That's how special I thought that dram was. But I like the Dark Cove better. I'll agree with you there. But the Kelpie CR is nothing to sneeze at to me. I had a Kilkerran heavily peated batch one recently. Only recommend if you really like peat. A little rough, but an interesting try. I appreciate you telling me that, Andrew. I have every other Kilkerran release back here that you can see. Even some work in progress options, but I haven't tried their heavily peated yet. I do really like peat, so I'm gonna definitely pick up a bottle. They're like $70 usually, so they're not like crazy. I have to admit it, Kelpie sucked for me, but that was mostly because I don't like those casks. It's just my preference, not a strike on the whiskey. And that I definitely would appreciate, Dustin. And if you don't like a German breakfast in a glass, you're not going to like this. It's extremely, I would say it's heavily sauerkraut, mustardy. Does that ring a bell, Dustin? Do you remember it having like a sauerkraut mustard, real overly savory kind of feel to it? I mean, if you don't like that, you're definitely not going to be a fan. But if you do like those notes, you're going to love it. Ben to Dustin, interesting comparison between a tin and an Oogie. Still much prefer the Oogie. Yeah, me too. I'm not a big lemon lime fan. That's the only reason why I don't really get into the whole Ardbeg tin basic deal. But the CR is $200 in today's market, and remember, the CR isn't close to cast strength. Hold on, the CR is close to cast strength. It's 51 to 57%. How could it not be close to cast strength there, Dustin? Unless you're talking about something different there. I think it is about cast strength. Or, I mean, they don't advertise it at that, but I mean, it's 51+% ABV. I get chocolate on the finish of the little 4015. It's truly a standout. They had to stop making it shit. I agree with you, man. It's sad. It's so sad. I'm gonna try to catch up here. For instance, simply it was great for the batch 2. There you go. Ben's had the hell. Ben beat me to the Kilkerran heavily peated. Maybe batch 2's better. 2003. Gotcha. That's where I was mistaken. Yeah, I would love to. I was lucky enough to have the 08 bottle. I went through it pretty fast. I never had a pre-08. I'd love to taste a pre-08 bottle. That would be awesome. Was it Corey? That was 2008-ish. Yeah, I bet it was. That's a damn good bottle. I love the old Corey records. Wish I kept some of that batch 1. I've seen CN2 now. Be fun to compare. I'm sure it would, man. I would think. the 12 cast strength. I freaking love it. Yeah. I forgot that was happening. No, I can imagine, man. Is it? Do you find it for 110? Is that the price point now, or has it gone all the way up? Because when I was looking around before, it was around 1 to 110. The quarry was 2009. I got all this coffee at the end. Yeah, yeah, I'll agree. I was lucky enough to have an old bottle of the Kortefrekken, and the Kortefrekken has got a really nice espresso note on the finish, and I got that before, but it's been at least 3 or 4 years, so that makes sense. Hopefully, they don't lose that at all. The Scalvis, man, give me the Kortefrekken any day. The only thing I could think of, Stephen, the reason why you don't really like the Kelpie CR is it doesn't have the spice that the Quarry has, and it's not heavily sherried like the Ugadal. It's a whole different beast. I don't know. I guess it's got to be the taste profile maybe that's just not doing it for you. I can understand that. If it doesn't have the spice kick, if you're more in the mood for a spice bomb like a Kortefrekken or a sherry bomb like a Ugadal, it's not going to have that. Under $100 choice for guys there. German breakfast sounds terrible. Oh, you never had a good Spätzle, man? Come on, dude. I love a good German breakfast. Oh, under $100 Scotch of choice. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Ugadal is definitely that in spades. But if I had to pick a different one, man, under $100, a go-to. I mean, of course, it depends on mood. I mean, because you can get the Loch Gorm for under $100, and that's a great Scotch. The Bunnahabhain 12 you can get for under $100. That's a great Scotch. Lefroy 10 cast strength you can get for under $100. It's a great Scotch. The Kalila 12 definitely. Even the 15. I wonder if the 15 peated is above 100. If it's not, I would definitely recommend that one. Look, any Kilkerran seems like it's below 100, with the exception of the new 15 year release. But the works in progress, the 12, the 8. All those under $100, definitely buys. Lagavulin, usually you can get the 12. The 16 for under 100, but maybe not so much anymore. I'd say the 11-year-old you can still get for under 100. The 11, I would say yes. The 10, I would say no. No to the 10. I don't care how cheap it is. The 8 is pretty good if you like straightforward, bourbon influenced Scotch. Oh man, the Highland Park 12, of course, is a definite buy. Hell, I even like Glenlivet's. Glenlivet 15 you can probably get for under $100. That's pretty good. I'm not so much on Glenfiddich, but I do like some of the Glenfiddichs. Glenfiddich 12, 15, Solera. If you can get it for under $100, that's pretty good. Akatoshi 3 Woods under $100. That's pretty good if you like sweet drams. If you don't like sweetness as much, go for the American Oak or the 12-year. That's a good one. Dalwhinnie 15 under $100. That's good. There's a lot of Scotch you can get for under $100. Sorry, I can go all day long, but there's just a few of them. The 15 Glendronach, the 10 Gilclear 12. Yeah. Yeah, Springmate 10 is overpriced at $75. I don't care how big of a fan you are. Germans are not known for their food. It's definitely different, but not my thing. Die Wände dieser Welt werden geschenkt. Glücklich nicht kauflich. Sisu bleibt unerreicht. I'm going to bring out my German. I'm doing some KMFDM lyrics for you. No, the issue is it was black pepper on black pepper on black pepper. That's what I got from some of the newer Kortefrekkens, if that's what you're talking about. They're very peppery. Oh, and the Kelpie. Oh, Black pepper on the Kelpie. I'm trying to remember. On the Kelpie. Huh. I have to go back and look at the notes on that one. I'm not disputing that, but the cast strength was over 57 on the black. Well, there you go. I mean, that's higher. That's a high ABV. Hey, Whiskey Ace, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by, man. We're catching up on comments here. Daniel says, see, none of those ever, but I'll look. Yeah. Some of these guys have some really good sites that they find on these whiskeys. You have to kind of do a lot of homework to find the right ones to get what you want. Those are really the ones that I can think of that are still made. 100 to 120. Okay. 120 I think is overpriced. 100 to 110 is where I would try to stick at on that one. On the 12 cast strength. The $75 for the 10 I think is way overpriced. I'll go under 100. Yeah, I could find it for $90 back in the day. I mean, it's been a few years, but maybe they've gone up. Kilhoman's probably got. I mean, that's the thing. Even though all their juice is young for all you old people out there, the juice is still good. So that's what it's all about. This brings up a good question for Stephen Connor. Is there any Kilhomas that you like? Because I know that you're a big fan of the older juice and you don't really like a lot of the younger juice. Kilhoma's not known for older juice because they don't have anything that's beyond 12 years that I'm aware of. So is there any Kilhomas that you actually like, Stephen Connor? I'm curious. Under $100 Scotch. Yeah, Lafroy 10 cast strength, definitely. Yeah, I've seen it for $90. Definitely, I would definitely buy it in a heartbeat for $90. Oh, come on, man! Way better than nearly every whiskey you just listed. It's good. I'm not knocking it for not being good, but it's a 10-year whiskey. For you guys, okay, no, we're gonna do a little retrograde Lagrangian point inertia crazy deal here. You guys that are all about the age, now you're bitching that it's easily worth $75 for a 10-year whiskey. You got to make up your fucking mind. Yes, it's good. It's got good casks. I'm not sure what they use other than bourbon. I'm sure they have some sherry going on in there. It's got some funkiness. I love the Dunnage Warehouse funk that you get from a Springbank. But for God's sakes, we're talking about 10-year-old whiskey here. Let's not get crazy. $50-$60 should be a price of a 10-year whiskey. That's across the board. The Bennett 12 and the Val 15, definitely. I can tell you why I don't like it. I don't like the profile at all. It tastes very fishy to me, very sauerkrauty, and I hate sauerkraut. And that's the funny thing. I don't like sauerkraut either. But see, when I looked up notes and looked up what I was in for, I took note that I was going to go on a sea voyage. I was going to go and search for Moby Dick. I was going to go out and take on the Kraken. And when I went out, got that dram, and did the nose and the palate, the finish, and the whole 9 yards, that experience, even though I'm not all attuned to every note I got out of it, I appreciated what it was. Maybe that's the difference there, but I don't know. Did someone say Bunnahabhain? I love all of them. Me too, my friend. The only Bunnahabhain that ever disappointed me was the Cabernet, and that's because the finish was lackluster. Everything else has been the Choichek is the one Choichek one is a little one-dimensional like the Lagavulin 8 in my opinion. But the Choichek Aha 2, the second version, is reminiscent, dare I say, of an Ardbeg Udal. So, if you're looking for a Bunnahabhain that's kind of like an Ardbeg Udal, I would give the Choichek Aha, the second version, the smoky one, a chance because it's actually not bad. It's pretty good. No, black at CS was over 57%. The CR was a low 50. But that's the thing you have to remember, Dustin, is percentage doesn't mean cast strength. I've had a Highland Park 25 cast strength at 46%, believe it or not. they do exist. Cask strength does not mean it has to be over 50. It can be a lower ABV at cask strength. I mean, that's just a name, not a number. Typically, yeah, it's above 50, but heavily watered down. I don't see that, but we can debate that later on. Oh, Calvinock, I just talked about that one. To me, it's a good dreamsicle. It's a peated Bunnahabhain. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's crappy or shitty or anything. It's a good dram. The only thing I didn't get out of it that I wanted to get out of it was a great finish. Now, I'm hoping you have a different experience, and I want you to let me know, Ben, on the next live that we do, if you had the Calvinock and if you like the finish or not. I love the nose and the palate, just not so much the finish. The Bunnahabhain and the grain wine cask finish bottle, 1500. Oh, that's a steal. That's a steal, dude. That's a 1 liter bottle. That red wine cask way over there. That's the Erna Grain. That is a good bottle, and for $59, dude, that is a steal. Plus, I had a Talisker 2003 20-year cask strength before the Kelpie. Well, that's the thing, man. I mean, you're comparing apples and oranges when it comes to a 2003 20-year-old cask strength. I mean, Jesus Christ, what is that, $600-700? There's no way you can compare that to a Kelpie. I mean, even though it is a nice cask strength whiskey at, I'm not sure about the age, but with great casks, the age and the cask strength and the price, I mean, come on, man. That's not even close. So now you're grading whiskey price on age. No, when I do grades, when I do like numbers as far as ratings, I don't factor that in on the rating, but will step up and say, look, you're charging me, $200 for a 5-year-old whiskey. Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed about that unless it had a kick-ass cask, i.e. or e.g. black. Springbank 10 is 3 times better than the Highland Park 12. Ooh, Dustin is like, we're playing cards, and he just threw down the Joker. I'm not sure if I could dispute that, actually. Is the Springbank 10 3 times better than the Highland Park 12? 3 times. 2 times, I'll agree with you. Now, with those 2 times, let's think price. Highland Park 12, $65. Springbank 10, $75. Is it worth the $10 difference? Man, is it barely. They are scraping by. I swear to God, if the Springbank 10 ever goes above 75, I will have a fucking heart attack. That's not good. He's a huge Highland Park fanboy. No, I'm here. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I can't dispute the. I can dispute the 3, but the 2 times it is better than 2 times better. I'll agree with you there. Opened mine last week. The Calvinock. Very pleased for the NES. Good value in the liter bottle as well. There. I didn't get a liter out of it. I don't think. Was it a liter bottle? I've got the Calvinock back there. No, that was a regular 750 milliliter bottle. I've got it. That's that gray one that's up there. The right there. And it's not as big as these. These are 1 liter bottles. This one's a 750. So I'm not sure how you got a liter bottle out of that, Trooper. You have to let me know if it was a overseas deal or something. Maybe I'll take your word for it about Springbank 12 and 10. Yeah, I'm thinking twice, not 3 times. Let's not get carried away here. You used to buy Springbank 10 for $60 a year ago. $80? No. 75 is where I drew the line, man. I like many Kilchoman bottlings, especially the single cast I've had. I've had many Kilchomans better than the black. I've had a Kalila 6 that kicks the black's ass. He's trying to make me go crazy. Holy shit. Hold on. Hold on. I'm not, this is so crazy. This is so asinine. I'm not even sure where to fucking start. Hold on. Okay. Kilhoman. Single casks. Yes. Bourbon single cask. Cask strength country vintner. Was a great bottle. Was it better than the black? Maybe, yes. But did it cost me $150, $160? Yes. I had to pay for that. Now, this Kalila 6-year that kicks the black's ass. How much did that bottle cost, and what was the cask? Who was the maker, the independent bottling? I'm sure it was some sort of some crazy ass specialized Adelphi Blackadder crazy motherfucker that was probably had like some, alien Martian cask that was made out of. I got to know about that one. I've only had a Kilhoman once, so it's hard to judge, but I wasn't blown away. Now I will say Kilhoman does do a great job. I'm not knocking him. I'm just getting on these guys for knocking my black, man, because my Ardbeg Black, that's a 4.25 out of 5. I don't care what anybody fucking says. It's a 4.25 out of 5 for the casks. It might not be for the age, it's for the casks. The casks are nice. It's a great taste. It's got fucking roses. It's got dark chocolate. It's got fucking milk chocolate. It's got everything that you'd want in a peated scotch. Come on. Yeah, the Choi Chick Aha is very high on my list, and it should be, because that is reminiscent of a Ugadal. Maybe not as great as the old Ugadals that you guys reminisce about, but it should be on your buy list for something that should be good. I'm telling you, the actual ABV on the CS Black, they did a CS at over 57, and the CR was about 51. This isn't a debate, it's a fact. So you're seeing that they did a release that's over 57, but then did a CR again at 51. They don't do 2 releases for CR, though. That's why I'm kind of not following what's going on. So you're saying, and Steven's saying he heard the same thing. So you're saying that they had 2 separate CR releases? I got to see what my number was. Let me see what the number was. I'll be right back. I'm thinking it was only 51 or so. Yeah, 50.7 to be exact. Are you saying they had another release of this that had a higher ABV? And if they did, I'm really pissed, because that's bullshit. Let me know if that's the case. If that's what I'm getting out of this. Tomor 22, 45.5. Yeah, the cast strength does not always mean a crazy high ABV. Yes, from Snick. Good to see you, Snick. I haven't seen you around since the beginning. I think I saw you say something. Good to see you either way. I do know that Springbank 10 is better than the black. Oh, no. No, now you're huffing goofballs, man. You're huffing goofballs. I'm gonna call that. I pay $100 for premium before I pay $70 for a Highland Park 12. I don't know, man. I think that's a bit high. Maybe 80. 80 for the Springbank, maybe before 70 for the Highland Park 12. But that's as far as I'm gonna go. Now there are some batches of 10 that are better than others. It sounds like I need to get my hands on a new Springbank 10, because if you guys are freaking out about a Springbank 10 being that great, which I do agree, it's a damn good dram for a 10-year-old, it's still, not crazy. Highland Park, like Dalmore and McKellen, rely on marketing and banking on their past reputation. Yeah. Well, thankfully, Highland Park, I will agree with you, Snick, on the comparison to a degree of marketing, but quality wise, I would much. And Dustin and Steven, if you even think about fucking arguing with me over this, I will come find you. Highland Park makes a much better dram than a Dalmore ever fucking thought of making. I don't care if it's 18, 25, 50 fucking year old. Dalmore does not make as good as a dram as at Highland Park. I don't care if it's 50 years NAS. You put it up there, it doesn't compare. Now Macallan's a whole different story. They're up and down everywhere. I've had some good ones. I've had some that cost too much that don't impress me. It's kind of all over, but at least Highland Park out of those three give a much quality dram for the price compared to anything else. Kilhoma single casks are better than anything. They're 150 plus. They are good, but better than I wouldn't say better than everything. Only the only young one I've had was the oldest I've had. I can't explain that one. The only young one I've had was the oldest I've had. I guess he had like a. Well, which ones have you had, Dustin? I mean, I would hopefully that you thought you've had a lot. I'm not sure what he means by all like specific and 5 and 5. I don't drink casks. I'm gonna send one to you. I'm still going, man. Yes, I'm having fun. You know. It is what it is. I had a long day today. It was a crazy day. Work wasn't crazy bad or anything. Work was fine. I have some extracurricular things that I do. I run a thing called Parks on the Air. It's parksontheair.com for you guys that are just kind of curious. I run a international program for radio operators all over the world, and we've had our ups and downs lately of just trying to. I'm trying to get some things, some support, and it's not the easiest thing to do. So I needed an extra little dram on the side here. I found my niche, my wheelhouse: peated sherry, Ugadal, Lochgorm, and the other suggestions. Yeah, like I said, the next one on your list should be the Lagavulin Distillers Edition. By far, one of the best sherried peated drams. The Laphroaig Lore should be on your list. Laphroaig Lore for the core is great. If you can find the Portwood 2013 Carriages, by all means get it. I mean, you would fall in love with it like I did. It's one of the best whiskeys, period, I've ever had. But it's going to cost you arm and a leg for a secondary market and all that stuff. But, you know, that's the way I look at it, at least. I would say those two and the Krugvona from Bunnahaven. Krugvona, it's not spelled like it sounds, unfortunately. Look up peated Bunnahaven and look up Krugvona and you'll find it. I like Ukuli. A lot of the haters are just pretentious teabags. I hear you, man. That should be my motto. I'm just messing with these guys. The CS release wasn't bottled. It was one of those Ardbeg buses. Are you kidding me? Are you telling? Hold on. There was a bus. Okay, I'm about to fucking go crazy. Hold on. Okay. Ardbeg had a bus that came through here, and I didn't think much of it because I've had every Ardbeg release that you could probably think of, minus the very young and some of the roller coasters and Galileos of long past. But as you can see, I've had my share of Ardbegs back here. They released a special Ardbeg Black that was higher than the 50. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm about to go crazy. But basically, the Black is far from being at cast strength. Well, if that's the case, I will suck up my pride and be like, what the fuck did they do? Because the CR, the committee release, should be at cast strength. If that's not happening, then we got a problem. I'm about to freak out. Sipping the Willet 4-year. Well, good on you, man. I don't do anything outside of Scotland. I stick to Scotland pretty much, and I might dabble in some Japanese whiskey. As you can see, I'm from Big Blue, originally in Kentucky, but I'm not a big fan of corn whiskey. I do love rye. So if it was a Willet rye, I'd probably join you on that one. But I don't really know a lot about the bourbons. So your best bet is to go maybe to another channel like Malt Muser. He's a really good bourbon fiend if you're looking for some bourbon notes. But for Scotch, you were at the right place, my friend, on that one. And you're welcome to I'm not trying to steer you away, but you're definitely welcome. I just don't know enough about the bourbon to really give you a good deal. Age is a factor with cask strength. Oh, definitely. And that's where, the 25-year Highland Park I've had was 46%. It was great, but with age and cask strength, it does affect it. But trolls won't always want attention to say. No, but to give these, Dustin and Steven are not trolls by any means. These guys are definitely they mean well, and they are giving good points, Meister French, I would say. Um, they look at it differently than I do when it comes to um, age and casks. I mean, to me, casks are just as much as important as age. To them, I think, and don't quote me on it, and you guys can correct me, but I think you guys think of age being a little bit more important than casks. To me, it's kind of an equal thing, but let me go back here. Springbank 10, if it was an NAS, it'd be far better. No, 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 no. I'm thinking from what I'm getting, I'm getting a 10-year whiskey that is well crafted. I will give you props, and that's why I'm willing to spend the 75 bucks for the craft. But once you go above that, I get a Glendronach for 65 bucks. A 12-year-old Glendronach for 12 years. Come on, man. Yep, try the Highland Park 16 Twisted, a great dram, vanilla bomb. I love it. I like it a lot. Only Delmar I ever had was a 35 year, and it wasn't great. I'm definitely not gonna knock you on that one, Dustin. I'll agree with you wholeheartedly there. I think if you compare it to another 1 year old, 100 is much more. I'm not sure what he means by 1p, but Springbank 10 is well overpriced. I don't care what anybody says. My gripe is their price. Yeah. You do wait after dinner before having a couple pours of whiskey, or go right into it? Oh, I don't. It's funny that you mentioned that. I've been trying to watch my health. Actually, my blood pressure has always been high. It's usually 150 over 90, and that's with like 4 or 5 blood pressure medications. So I've been trying to taper off a bit on my whiskey, intakes. Tuesdays are a free for all. I'll usually have 3 or 4 drams, if not more than that. And but other than that, I don't usually drink on other days just because of the health reasons. So Steven's loving nature, Destin there. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with the radio stuff on the side. It's a lot of fun. It's expensive to buy young whiskey. Way cheaper to buy older stuff. If you like it, try the younger. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I'm not disputing you there. Oh, come on, man. Damn. Okay, here we go. With the Distillers Edition, it's not like water. I mean, it also depends on the batch. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's some batches that are probably piss poor if you got today compared to like 5-6 years ago. Just the same with Quarry of Reckon or any other batch that you're into. If you get the first batches of anything, guys, more or less, you're going to be happy. Tamdu Batch 1 is the best. Batch 2 is still good. Batch 3, not so good. 4, I mean, come on. It's the same kind of thing across the board. Yeah, I like the Seneg. If you like a savory the Loch Gorm, I'm sorry, the Long Morn 16 is reminiscent of that. Which drink is Z? That's a good question. Sorry, I'm still catching up here. My brother and I are interested in anything at Kilhoman. After Loch Gorm 20, Seneg will be next. Yeah. Yeah, the original cask strength is definitely a great bottle to get. It's the green one up here. Now, they had a 20. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, it's a greenish bottle. Go for the newer one, not the old one. The 2014 original cask strength is not that good. The 2016 plus version is excellent. Peanut brittle. It's cask strength original. Oh man, it's really good. If you like rye, Will It 4 years, Christmas in the Glass, and it's rye. Okay, well, I'll definitely jump all over that. Try it at least. Went on the Lafroig bus last year and just got a special huge Ardbeg glass and T-shirt. But I think he means the Ardbeg bus. Just got a special huge Ardbeg glass and T-shirt, but I've heard there's a special Ardbeg release. Damn it! Why didn't I go to the damn bus when I had a chance? But I'm kind of miffed that these guys would release a whiskey at cast strength only on a fucking bus for marketing and not give it to the masses. When I'm the guy that waits for a year and I'm the first guy in Virginia or wherever I have to go to get that committee release first day in March every fucking year, and they're not going to give me an option to buy it. You got to be kidding me. That's bullshit. Sorry, I'm going off. Glendalough in a Glentronic 18 currently. I'm thinking about bourbon next. How about you, bro? Glentronic 18, man, that's hard to top that. Oh, okay, it is right. Gotcha. I'll be up for that. Will It 4? I'll have to remember that. Drinking a little hot in this weather. Yeah, I can imagine that. I just don't want to taste young whiskey. Well, I mean, then why are you drinking Springbank 10? Have you had the Ardbeg 20-something, I think it's called? Yes, the 23-year-old version I've had, and it is excellent. I do have a sample still that I'm about to pop here soon, so stay tuned. I'm not sure if it'll be the next video, but I will bring out the Ardbeg 20-something, and it is excellent from what I've remembered before. You think the 12 Glentronic is even close to Springbank 10? Yeah, if you're talking about class, I'm not talking about the new Brown-Forman shit. I'm talking about the classic old stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a better than the Springbank 10, but I'm not talking about new Brown-Forman shit. I'm talking about the old stuff. No, that's cool, Andrew. I knew what you meant. Dustin's about to get fired up. Hopefully he took my pre-Brown-Forman into account there, but we'll see what he says. Hey, Sam. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Join the... I think you came by and then maybe you left and came back later. I'm not sure. Good to see you, man. The Silver's edition of 43 versus too much higher ABV bottles, less water. 43. That's the thing, though, Dustin. You have to admit, and this is a good prime example of a 43% not tasting like a 43, is that sometimes, yes, it's a lower ABV, and I'd much rather it be 48% plus any day. I agree with you. But sometimes 43% drams don't taste 43. They taste 48 and above. Just the fact that they're made well. That's just me. A good whiskey is good whiskey. I've had whiskeys that use great cask, Cavalan, that's super young. I've also had 30-year porcelain staged hard whiskey that are incredible. I mean, that is true. I'm definitely agreeing with you there. I drink Scotch too, but the selection in my area is pretty stagnant unless I'm traveling. Most exciting place to look at tends to be the carriages. Yeah. Have you seen the new carriages where you are, Whiskey Ace? I'm just curious. And what is it going for? I'm hoping you don't say 130 to 140. If you do, I'm going to be crying because it should be like 110. Well, at least one much. And one just a bit higher, but still under 46%. It's not all about cast, though. All the ingredients used is a big factor. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's all about any one thing. These guys, to a degree, are bitching about the age of whiskey in higher priced drams. And I understand that being kind of a myth, but to me, you also have to take account of the casks, how rare they are, if they're hard to come by, if they're doing multiple cask maturations, if it's just a couple versus 4. I mean, it makes a big difference with some of this stuff. Even if you don't like if you don't like the byproduct, that's okay. That's subjective. But you can't say it's a bad whiskey just because you don't like the taste of it, is my point. Well, why would you compare a Glenlivet 12 that sells for $150? No, I'm not talking about $150 plus. I'm talking about $65, $75. I'm not sure where you're getting your vintage Glendronach 12 from, but I can definitely get it for more like 75, $80 tops than 150. 1920 is like $20 here. Well, he's talking about, we're making a comparison with he's talking about Springbank 10 being worth 75 plus. To me, a 10-year-old whiskey, unless you've got some crazy cask maturation, which the Springbank 10 does not have, is not worth 75 plus. It's just not. I don't care how you fucking want to, calculate it. It does not compute. Hey, bro, any tramps tonight? Good chance. Good question there. Not for what Telex time. How much are years? Yeah, years, but we're not talking 10 years. We're talking like 5. We're not talking like ancient. It hasn't been that long since they've switched over to Brown Forman, really. Whiskey Ace. Haven't seen the new bottle yet, but sure sounds good. This and I need to get on there so we can correct you about what we think. You can't get it. Yes, you can. You just got to do some digging. Same thing. You might say, tell us, you can't find this for 120. I found it for 120. Yes, regularly it's like 150, 160, 170 and up. But if you do your homework, you can find it to a degree. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for stopping by. It's been fun, but Booker's costing that sounds crazy. I've had a sample and said to grab a Cabocan. I do not, but I've heard great things as far as I know. Drew from the Four Dummies likes it a lot. I think Sean liked it too. I never tried it. I always wanted to try it though, because they always kind of gave it a good vibe. But we'll see. You're totally misleading. I'm not misleading. You guys were saying that you found the black to have some really young spirit in there, and that it wasn't worth 130 or whatever the price was. And I'm saying that, yeah, it might have some young whiskey in there if that's the case, but the casks alone to me dictate that it might be worth more than what you're stating it as being. And I think it has a damn good taste. It's got florals, it's got peat, it's got smoke, it's got fruit, it's got complexity. It changes with water. What the fuck do you want it to do? A goddamn cartwheel? I mean, come on. Sorry. I'm trying to hear you. I demand we get on there to plead our case. When you say get on there, were you talking about joining the channel? No, that's cool. I'll definitely have you guys on the next time. Yet. All right. I'll tell you what we'll do. I mean, Malt's already, knows that he's going to be joining in at 9 or whatever. I'll get you guys joined in at 11 o'clock sharp next Tuesday, 11 to 12. It's your all's show, and you guys can do what you want and talk about what you want, and I'll come in for the ride, and we'll have a little free for all at 11 and see how it goes, and post that stream link up. I will. I'll definitely get you guys in on the next show. I have to work tomorrow, unfortunately. I wish I was off tomorrow because it's going to be a really nice long weekend. We might have our own show if you guys are free. Let me seriously, Dustin and Steven, let me know if in email telex@outlook.com if you guys are free anytime between now and next Tuesday. We'll have a special show. We'll just drum it up when you guys are available. And yes, I do have to work, Dustin, even though with COVID. I work for the U.S. government, so there's no extra time for Mr. Telex. Telex is balls to the wall, still working. I'm an enterprise architect with an IT. It never ends. So there you go. But we'll get you guys both in the show, and we'll go on a tirade across the board. Let me know when you guys both are free between now and Tuesday. We'll have their whole show to ourselves. We'll do any drams you guys want to do. Have your people do the work. That's what I do. Yeah, I wish I do have a contractor that I have been giving things to, but I don't want to overwhelm the guy. I don't want to kill him. He's pretty good, so I don't want to go crazy with that. But everything's going well. Whiskey Scout, good to see you. Are you this? Hey, are you the one gracious enough to send the 15? Because yes, it must be, Mr. Robert. You missed the whole show, man. I was talking about this the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but most of the time. So really appreciate it. I'm about to sign off, actually, but I was talking to Steven and Dustin, trying to get them to do a show between now and Tuesday. I'm off after tomorrow, so anytime after tomorrow during the day, I'd be up for a show. So send me an email, telex@outlook.com, and let me know when you guys can do it, and I'd be happy to give you guys a soapbox to plead your case, and I will try my best to be open-eared and open-minded and go along for the ride. But thanks again, Scout. I didn't say a whole lot other than I really appreciated it, and I'm already a few down on the 15, as you can see. So, Scout, let's go live. Looks like Whiskey Ace might do a live. We'll catch the playback. Yeah, really fun, man, and hope you got my email and everything worked out really well. You should go get Robert on there with you and Dustin. Okay, yeah, and Robert, if you want to, you're more than welcome to join the group when we do it. I don't know when Dustin and Steven are available, but if you three can get on board and see when you can do it, I'd be happy to facilitate, a good round and kind of go around and get people's thoughts on different things. Just thinking he can get maybe Mike on too. Yeah, let's not go crazy. Let's keep it to 5 max. I don't want to go above 5, but if we can get Dustin, Steven, Scout, which is Robert, and Mike and myself, that would be ideal. I'm able to do it, but Friday is the only day I cannot. I'll be at Mike's drinking. Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I'm really flexible before Tuesday, so send me an email, telex@outlook.com. That's TELEX@outlook.com. Let me know your availability before Tuesday, and we'll try to get it done. Thanks a lot, guys. Salanchava, and yeah, Benriach 21. If you can get it for 120 to 150, I'd say go for it. If it's anything above that, say no. Lafroig 15 is one of my favorites. Even at 43, it tastes higher than 43. I think it tastes like 46, 48. Great all-around dram. I love the smoke. I love the fruit. Love the florals. And cheers to you guys. I really appreciate it. It's always fun with you guys. And subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate it. It's funny. 30% of people did not subscribe for some reason. I don't know why, but hopefully they will. See you guys later.